This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 780 for the week of Monday, July 31st, 2023. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
And we are celebrating the One Piece anime this whole, not month, for the next 3 weeks. And to kick us off, we have two amazing animators who worked with Henry on the recent 1066, on episode 1066 of the anime. So first, and we are literally across the globe here. We have first, he is the director of or co-founder, I think, CRCR Studio. We have Jeremy Pires in Europe. How's it going, Jeremy?
Pretty well. A bit late, as you said, because for me it's like 1:30 a.m., almost 2.
Boy.
But it's fine. Like for One Piece, I can stay awake.
We appreciate it.
We do.
On behalf of One Piece, we appreciate it for you.
Yeah. It's for you, Oda.
And we also have, he also worked on the same episode, and is a senior effects animator working currently. Well, I guess no one's working currently on anything. I don't know how that's working right now. But on Marvel's What If, we have José Rebolledo, whose name I just definitely mispronounced. Sorry, Jose. Welcome.
Nah, it's okay. Hello.
Rebolledo. Is that better? Sorry.
Nah, it's fine. Don't worry.
Show them how it's done, Jose. You could do. It's fine.
Yeah, please.
Okay, it's Rebolledo.
Wow. Okay. I really messed that one up.
Nah, but don't worry. People here call me Joes.
Okay,
Oh,
Jose.
jeez. I'm
Oh,
so
well,
sorry.
you're,
No,
so
Zach, you're.
I was
you're,
joking. It was
you
a
damn
joke.
well know.
So Jose, you're in Australia right now.
Yeah.
So how's everything going over there?
It's pretty cold for Australian standards, but yeah.
It is your winter right now.
Yeah, it's winter here. It's not different than in Chile, so yeah.
Oh yeah. And so we're gonna go through with both of these amazing animators just how they got into One Piece and involved in One Piece. So why don't we start Jeremy, since it's late there? I want to make sure you get a chance to speak. How did you find your way to be an animator on One Piece?
On One Piece particularly, like it's literally something that...
Yeah, why don't we go through your whole story? How did you become an animator?
Because I love drawing. And yeah, a bit later I went into Goblin's animation school in Paris, which is like kind of a famous animation school where you learn to be a director too. And actually at the same time I started reading One Piece. So both journey, were already entangled in each other. And so then, as an animator, I worked on a lot of things, from Amazing World of Gumball to our own stuff with my co-founder of CRCR Studio. So many movies like Riot music videos and things like that. And like One Piece has always been something, I was reading and reading again for like 14 years now. And
Wow.
And really recently, because Henry, as a not European, sorry, like I think he's American, but like a foreigner. He was really looking for new blood, I think, and especially like because he speaks English, it's easier for us, when we don't have any experience in the Japanese industry. And so he just contacted me on Twitter. I was already, really busy because directing 2 Riot movies at the same time.
Wow.
But I had like the same grin, Luffy has. When I received the notes, I was like, I can't refuse. It's just, I have to do it. So then I said yes, and that's why I was there on the episode. And it was like literally a dream come true for me.
Yeah. I mean, that's so. How did you first get into One Piece?
I was not reading that many manga at the time, and I started reading Slam Dunk actually first, and then like a lot of people were talking about, I even 14 years ago it was One Piece is kind of cool, I think we were at around Marineford at that time.
Yes.
And yeah, actually I just started reading the manga. I'm not, to be honest, I don't watch the anime that much, because as an animator, actually for a while I found it kind of not that great in terms of animation alone. And so I was reading the manga. I think I started like chapter 1, and like 3 weeks later I was almost at the end of what I could read. And yeah, it was just like such a great experience at the time. I was lucky enough to be after Marineford in terms of what was available in chapters. So I could read it all until then without a stop. The drawback was a bit harsh, when you are reading all the chapters, you're discovering all the arcs. You're like, this is the best thing I ever read. But yeah, I'm lucky. I was at the beginning of Fishman Island, so no, I could see it through the end of Marineford and the time skip.
I was like wowed that it was 14 years ago, and then I realized that's how long ago we started this, and just it is a very long time, and it's awesome to hear that journey as well. Jose, what about you? How did you get into animation first?
It was a last minute decision actually. My original plan was studying architecture or graphic design, but I found a university that had an animation program, and I thought, well, I like drawing and I like movies, so combine the two of them and you have animation. So I honestly was improvising the entire time, and I didn't knew nothing about animation at the time, and I fell in love with it. So yeah, that's the story. I started.
That's cool.
Yeah. What else?
I'm curious because you said you were considering going into architecture. Did that have any benefits of learning perspective at all?
Not at all.
Just curious, because I always stress like perspective is so crucial to I think most art making. But I was curious. I'm like, oh, you must have knew how to like draw like a building and like a 3-point perspective, worm's eye view, no problem. But
I wish I could.
It's not too hard.
Yeah. I mean, I can, but I originally the idea of studying architecture is because I needed something that I could draw, any kind of work that needed someone that I could draw. So, yeah, honestly, it was like a last minute decision for me.
And how did you get into One Piece?
Pure nepotism. No, I was recommended by this fantastic animator from Indonesia called Hussein Untoro. That we are friends when I started working on FlyingBark, and he recommended me to Henry because he liked my animations of Pokemon that I have on Twitter. So, he contacted me on Twitter and teach me how the entire pipeline of Japanese animation worked. It's not that different, but still is different enough to be nervous about. So yeah, it took like 2 months, and yeah, the story ends there.
How did you get into the series?
uh, into the series, a friend lent me his pirate DVD collection that he has of One Piece. And I fell in love with the series when I was decimated by Chopper's backstory.
Oh no. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll do it.
I never cried so hard with an anime before.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, no, it was
Yeah, this one is
fantastic.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Robin's also. Yeah.
yeah, Robin's backstory, the Going Merry, Brooks' backstory, and so on and so on. And when I catch up with the anime, that was like on 2016, I think. I started reading the manga just when the Marineford accident happened.
Mm.
So yeah, since then I've been reading One Piece week to week, and yeah.
So Jeremy, what was like for those who don't know, what specifically did you work on for episode 1066, and how was that process different from, and I'm sure it was different from what you usually do.
Yeah, when Henry contacted me, like he told me right away, like he was looking for uh, not no, sorry, how to say about that, like Japanese style, but not that much. Like he wanted to have a style that was a bit different that what would a traditional Japanese animator do. And I think for a lot of sequences, he actually was looking for that, slightly different European way of doing it, of doing animation. And so at first I didn't know what was the shot, so I was a bit intrigued. Literally my heart stopped because I knew we were close to Gear 5. So I was like, if it's for Gear 5, I might faint. Because in my head from the beginning, like I don't watch the anime, but I read the manga, and at first I was like, yeah, Gear 5 definitely needs to be, also asked to European animators, cartoon, like that vibe. Like it could be sick, but it was not for that, unfortunately, and maybe lucky as well because I was still nervous already. So and so yeah, he told me like I know you're busy, so it's going to be just 2 shots, but I want Kid and Low to really feel the pain of what they're going through. So like no anime backgrounds, just a guy getting ass kicked for 7 seconds, and then the same shots as a like kind of a mirror shot. Yeah, same thing with Big Mom. So yeah, I was really happy because it was animating Low and Kid. Okay, next best thing after Luffy probably. So yeah, I was really happy about that.
Jose, what about you? What was for those who don't know, what did you work on specifically in 1066, and how was that process different?
Um, Specifically, the original plan was only to do effects, but uh, they give me the opportunity to work on entire shots. Like, how is it called? The person, Yang, I think, to do
Yeah.
an entire sequence. So besides that, I helped Henry with a couple of shots of effects that he needed. I'm pretty proud of being able to do the to be continued of the episode.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I think that's the peak of my career. But
yeah.
yeah, amazing. But how different it is, honestly, because I feel I'm still new on being a professional animator, quote unquote. I think trusting the rest of the crew uh, is like the most different thing because and the way I animate, I tend to do the entire thing, like from sketching to cleanup to color to composition, etc. But on anime, you only have to do your part and trust that the rest of the crew will, the people on Toei will clean up and understood your instructions. And because I'm pretty bad explaining my process, I was pretty scared that something will be wrong and it will end up ruining the entire episode. But yeah, it didn't happen. Everything went well. The team at Toei is incredible. And yeah, it's not that different than the American pipeline, but you need to be more trusting on your team.
That's really cool to hear. Steve or Ed, I don't want to monopolize things if you have questions.
No, by all means. No, I'm curious what it's like working with like an overseas studio. I think like Jose was kind of alluding this before. It's like, have there been a lot of like complications with just time zones and language barriers or for the most part have you always felt like, or has it just been a very smooth experience for you two?
Yeah, for me, I think it's with Henry it went really smoothly. Like he was really, available when we had questions. Like of course, the process is like really different from how we do it in France, I guess, or in Europe. So at first, yeah, and I was really nervous to do it well. Like I knew uh, nothing about layouts and Gengas and how we supposed to use the colors. So I was really eager to don't make any mistake. Like, okay, what color do I need to use for the shadows, for the highlights, for things like that? And every time Henry was really helpful, like for the spreadsheets, because in Japanese production you need to do timesheets for your frames, and that's something I learned at school like 10 years ago, but something we don't use in Europe for the kind of animation I do usually, because the in betweens make sense. You don't have to put that drawing is on that frame and everything, but it's because I think what I understood is like they print all the drawings you send, because they still have that thing of the lead, on their side will do some draw over on paper. So yeah, that's the only thing, like to make sure trying to do it well. That was the main thing for me. But yeah, Henry for that was like so helpful.
Jose, I don't know if there was anything you wanted to
Uh, for about Henry, he
or
was
just in general, just like that whole process of just working with a foreign studio.
uh, this was my first time working for a Japanese studio, and because I live in Australia, they were only 2 hours of difference. So, no, it was great. Henry was present the entire time because I'm pretty sure he was also rushing for finishing the episode. So we were sending mails by 1 a.m. Asking about models and sending him like advances of the animation to send me notes and stuff. But yeah, it wasn't that different than other clients that I had. It was just this looming feeling of this is like the most important thing I've been done on my career, so I have to do it well and I have to ask all the questions that I can. But yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, it all worked out. It made it to air.
Yeah, we made it. Woo.
And was very well received.
Yeah.
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 I
go ahead.
Zach just saying that right there. What was it like? Kind of, I think a part of this is due to Henry, but kind of just having that kind of online, hype. I don't know if you guys have ever really experienced that, like with anything else you've done, where you could clearly see people online talking about. It's like, oh, can't wait for this episode of of this series. I'm curious what was going through your head seeing people get anticipate this animated episode that you took part of.
A lot of nervousness and anxiety. like, no, yeah, it's as I said, like I don't usually follow the anime that much. I watch the big clips, like especially since Wano, like the anime definitely caught more my attention because some animators I know are working on it, or I watch the big Sakugas that comes out, and yeah, I'm just also really impressed by it. And so yeah, it was a bit like that. It was a bit I instantly saw, just by saying I might have worked on the next episode. Like everyone was, like new followers waiting for, okay, we'll see what you've done, like a bit. And so it was a bit, yeah, some anxiety there. And then when it comes out and people received that well, and people were saying, yeah, we love your shots, and we really felt what I wanted to put in it, it was, yeah, the cherry on the cake, because just working on One Piece for me, I used to joke with the people I work with in Paris, like I can end my career when we are doing something officially for One Piece, as directors. So I don't know, like for me it was just maybe like a small commercial for some sort of product, One Piece branded. So when I received, like you can officially be on the anime, which is the next thing to the manga. Like, okay, I can end my career now.
I was just wondering what the reaction has been like locally. I know One Piece has a significant following in France. I'm not sure if it's the same in Australia where you guys are, but has there been response from fans locally where you are?
More than Australia, it was on Chile.
I was going to ask about Chile, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I only post a small hint of my participation on the episode, like only 2 words, like guess what, and I went to sleep, and on the other day, apparently I made it on the news.
Wow.
Nice.
As
Congrats.
Chilean animator made it to into One Piece, and I was like, "What's going on?"
Nice.
So, yeah, there was a lot of comments about the episode and Chilean stereotypes, but yeah, it was great. There are a lot of One Piece fans, anime fans on Chile. We love anime on Latin America. And I'm proud that thanks to me, 2 of my friends are watching the series too.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, it was super well received on Chile, and Australia. I have no idea.
That's really cool.
I'm pretty sure there's a big community.
I'm also upset that our news stations don't have the same priorities as those in Chile. It's the right way to go.
See Henry on the nightly news with Tom Brokaw.
I know. Well,
Yeah,
Tom Brokaw isn't.
Well, yeah, he's retired, but whatever.
Yeah. What about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, as you said it, like manga in France are like a big thing. I think if I'm not saying something stupid, we might be the second biggest reader of manga in the world after Japan.
I think that's right.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
And anime as well. And so, yeah, definitely because, again, I work in an animation studio, so a lot of my friends, animators, were, coming to see some sneak peek and what I was working on and like being really nice about it and really anxious to see it finish. But the good thing as well is just that, even when I work on, I don't know, like a big League of Legends trailer or, something that means a lot to me, my mother or my brother-in-law don't care that much. They're like, okay, you're doing animation. That's cool. But now for One Piece, like my nephews, my nieces, my brother-in-law, they were all like, you're working on One Piece? Like officially?
That's
so
amazing.
yeah, it was more about the fame in the family, like close friends that don't, are not that much into my work usually because it's more, for animators and for fans of a specific thing. One Piece has a way larger audience in France.
That's
so
cool.
I became a hero for a few of my nephew.
That's awesome. Ed, Steve, did you have any other questions you wanted to ask? Otherwise, we could ask our usual One Piece
I was going to say,
questions.
other than animation questions, we could ask some One Piece questions.
Yeah, I think that's important. It's part of our mission statement. So I'll start. We have general questions we ask, like what your favorite of such and such is when it comes to One Piece, to gauge what kind of One Piece fan you are. Jose, we'll start with you. Who is your favorite Straw Hat?
It's definitely Robin. Frankie is my close second, but Robin is my favorite.
Jeremy, what about you?
Yeah, I think I have to say Zoro probably, and then yeah, Frankie is a close second. But yeah, I think from the beginning Zoro has such a vibe.
I'll add a question here. So I think Oda years ago, I don't remember them offhand, I'll check, but had image countries for each of the Straw Hats. Is there, in your opinion, which is a much more valid opinion probably than Oda's, who hasn't probably been to those places, is there one of the Straw Hats that represent the country you're from best? If you had to choose one to represent your country, which would it be? If either of you have.
I think we have Sanji, right? France?
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah, I think France is Sanji, and I think it's yeah, Oda didn't miss on this one. He's a chef. He's a playboy. I don't know. Like maybe it's the two cliche we have the most. Yeah. But yeah, I take him. He, as a French, it's fine.
I also know one of Oda's editors was French, and so I guess he probably has a lot of connection with France. And Jose, what about you?
I think Luffy representing the entire of Latin America because he's Brazilian. I think it's pretty appropriate, especially in these political times. But but yeah, I think Luffy representing freedom, I think is pretty appropriate right now. I agree with Dada.
Nice. We all agree with Oda. So the next question is, who is your favorite non-Straw Hat character? Jeremy.
Yeah, I should have think about the question.
No,
before.
It's being on the spot about it that like it brings the truthfulness out. Just the first one that pops into your head.
My favorite non-Straw Hat character. I think Kuma probably. Like,
good choice.
I love the design so much.
Yeah.
I think it's the best design of all One Piece. Like, first time I saw it in the manga, I was like, yeah, okay, this guy surely is really strong.
The good thing is you can't really. There's very few wrong answers to that question too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Jose, what about you?
There are so many characters, but I think I'll have to choose Pong Clay.
Good choice. Also, see,
yeah, he's the best.
He sacrificed himself 3 times at least. Well, he's done a lot of sacrificing.
Yeah, a lot of sacrificing for him. Hopefully he'll be back. He'll escape people down and will be on the final war. If that happens.
He'll be back.
He'll definitely be back.
He'll be back for sure.
Yeah.
They were on the the cover pages. I know leading level 5.5 of Impel down right now. So
yeah, he's alive.
Living the life in prison, I guess, as much as you possibly can. Next, Jose, I'll ask, what is your favorite story arc in One Piece?
I mean, everyone loves this story. Water 7 and Enies Lobby. I think that's big One Piece for me. Even Shabao the Archipelago is a close second because how emotional it was. But the most emotional arc of One Piece was Water 7 and Enies Lobby. We had a lot up there.
And it's got Frankie and Robin's backstories.
That's true.
Frankie, Robin, we lost the Mary. I think it's the coolest location of the entire One Piece world.
Yeah. The food still sounds good there.
Oh yeah,
even if it's fictional.
The water meat,
The water meat, yeah. Jeremy?
Yeah, it's really hard to choose. I agree, of course. Like the whole, and again, I said it, but I read the manga really in the rush. Like I was reading pages and pages and pages every day.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, Water 7, Enies Lobby, or after that, like the Saobody to Marineford was like a big blur for me. Like everything was really getting fast, But so that's obvious. But so I would say what got me hooked first was Bharati, like Sanji and backstory and that first encounter meeting with the in English it's Mihawk, which is so Bharati and probably Alabasta as the first big arc, like where you have so many characters and so many plots at the same time.
I know at least one person here who likes that answer. And that person's Steve. Who is your favorite antagonist? Bad guy, former bad guy. I guess not Bon Clay for Jose, but Jeremy.
Yeah, I think I can't choose between Crocodile and the Flamingo. I think that's the first two that came to my mind. They're so cool, as bad guys and as designs and as the full. I prefer Alabasta to sorry, I forgot the arc to
Dressrosa.
To Dressrosa, but the two, those two.
That's a good answer as well. Jose?
Uh, I was about to say the Flamingo too, but does Katakuri counts as a bad guy?
It's an antagonist. Like, he is against... the Luffy had to fight him for most of the arc. So
yeah, it was the final fight of Whole Cake. But yeah, for me, Katakuri was short and sweet, and
he's tall and sweet, actually.
Yeah, he's tall and sweet. Yeah. But yeah, I feel I connected a lot with him, even if he was like the bad guy of the arc. But yeah, he was my favorite. He's my boy.
He's middle management. He's got beliefs.
Yeah, he is middle management. Poor guy. He just wants his donuts.
He's a good brother.
Yeah, he's a good brother.
Yeah, he's just a good brother.
He is a good brother. Ed, am I missing any? I think that those are the...
Those are the questions, yeah.
Those are the questions. Unless there's anything else you either want to say, or Steve or Ed, you want to ask. I want to thank both of you. It was awesome having you on, Jeremy and Jose.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to just see like we're in this like new era of anime where it's like animators are getting to work on it beyond just like Southeast Asia, and it was a pleasure to hear your experiences and just and also just hear you talk about your passion for drawing and everything else.
Thank you. Like,
thank you so much.
It's a big world.
Mm-hmm. And also, make sure you give yourselves time to rest as well.
Oh yeah.
between deadlines, like treat yourselves to something.
Yeah, I'm on holiday, so it's fine.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm trying to go in out more. So yeah.
Thank you both. Hey everyone, this is still Zach. I'm still with Ed and Steve here. We have another very... Hi Ed, how are you? Steve, still doing okay?
Hi. Hey,
okay.
Hi Zach.
Hi. We have a very special guest joining us for this segment as well, as we just rave about the One Piece anime, and particularly how excited we are for next week. We have Skippy joining us, Skippy the Robot. How's it going, Skippy?
Hello, it's going well.
Not actually a robot. These days, you do have to say
Zach,
that.
Come on,
yeah.
you could play up the kayfabe a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jeez.
I've always thought about removing the robot part from my username because I added it because I thought it sounded cool back then. It doesn't sound cool anymore, but
well, now it's a whole different connotation.
Yeah. We don't have to get into discussion about usernames that we thought were cool back when.
Oh yes, Steve. Should we get into yours?
That's not. But then again, like one of them is basically my life's motto at this point. But.
Sanji's cool. Yes, Sanji is cool.
So Gear 5, we thought that the One Piece Day celebration was going to be mostly about the Netflix and the live action, but it was actually the purpose of One Piece Day this year was to announce Gear 5 Luffy merch.
Pretty much.
So, that's what we're here to talk about.
It's the bit from Spaceballs when Yogurt just reveals the fucking merch stand.
Merchandising.
I was thinking we'll probably get like a few figures, but Jesus Christ, there's so much.
They were like waiting up until like it was like just before to unleash absolutely everything.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I don't know about you guys. I know about Steve at least. But I love everything Gear 5, and I want to purchase everything Gear 5 related.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, they know that vulnerability in all fans just exists. It's so exciting. Skippy, I did want to talk before we even get into merch. Like, do you want to tell people about like what you do on YouTube, and generally just like you and there's a whole community of Sakuga experts. You want to let people who are not in that world, let them know what you do?
So I'm a little... This is my first time, so I apologize if I'm a little discombobulated, but So every week, well, haven't been for a couple weeks now because of like personal life, but everything's been busy. I do anime breakdowns of every single episode of One Piece. Well, most episodes. Some weeks, I think some episodes won't be like worth really talking about because of like pacing or other reasons. And I mostly look into the adaptation, the storyboard from each individual episode director, and then any animation highlights, and just see how the episode fares as a whole. And there's, I think ever since Wano started, mostly because of like Discord servers, stemming from mostly actually from the Dragon Ball Sakuga community originally, just a lot of people interested in the animation of the series as more and more people participate and do like really cool stuff on it, especially with the Ishitani episodes and how big those blew up. So a lot of people are also trying their hand at doing weekly breakdowns, and it's definitely, it's helped a lot of people, I think, like educate themselves a lot on like just anime production, and also just like how much better the anime has gotten since then, and how exactly they go about like making it as great as it is.
When did you start again? Because I have seen you on what was formerly the site formerly known as Twitter, since it feels like a very long time ago. Definitely before Whole Cake Island, right?
Yeah, I've been a One Piece fan since like 2014, I'd say, but I wasn't really like super active about it, I guess, on Twitter since like 2016, 2017. But I started my channel in 2019, like right as Wano started, I think like the episode right before. So it's been like about 4 years.
You picked a good time.
Yeah.
I'm curious. What other anime were you following before One Piece, or as you were starting to decide to cover One Piece?
Well, from a fan perspective, at least, One Piece was kind of what changed my viewpoint on anime. And that's when I started, because I originally wasn't like too big on it, but then as soon as I started watching One Piece, I think is when I got more open to watching a few. I mean, obviously I've watched Dragon Ball and Pokemon as a kid and everything, but
yeah,
definitely brought into my viewpoint from there on, because it was such a big series that it allowed me to like explore a lot of other ones after catching up with it. And then, at least from an animation perspective, I kind of just like look at whatever is airing right now. I don't like watch completely everything, but usually there's like a lot of cool stuff, like animation and direction wise, coming out from like the entire industry. So I usually try to like keep up with everything.
Mm-hmm. And I totally forgot, because you were mentioning too, like the Dragon Ball Super community kind of migrating over to One Piece. Were you watching Super from like the beginning?
Yeah. From like the fan subs, I think, when there was an official simulcast.
Oh yeah, it took forever.
I forgot that. Yeah, I was like, what? I feel like fan subs at this point are so old.
Extremely.
At the time, it felt like the most boneheaded thing. I'm like, why is this not a simulcast?
Yeah, it took like a year.
Jeez.
Yeah, who knows? That could have been like a Toei thing too as well. But so you were there for the dark days of Super.
Yeah, that's actually when I started getting interested in animation. That's when I also started to like, as a result of getting into Dragon Ball stuff through people like, I don't know if you guys know Anime AJ, his videos and everything, and his, I think, a thread on Konzenshu about just like the several different supervisors for Super, that interested me in looking at like the One Piece side of things. And that's how I got to know all these sorts of names like years before they'd become like household names with the fandom, starting with Wano.
He was definitely someone who kind of really... he was the first person I knew of who was naming like animators.
Yes.
Well, I've seen it in the past, but like definitely his stuff was getting out a lot more, and I was like, cool, someone's finally doing this, so I know how to identify.
Yeah.
Pardon my phrase here. It's like I know how to identify a Triangle Man or something. About
Triangle Man.
But then again, also Kazenshu is they have a great animation guide too on their website that they've had for years. But I'm just curious if part of the reason sorry, I feel like I'm theorizing here.
I want to hear it.
Toes. I'm just curious if you kind of saw, because as Super went on, I would say like the Goku Black saga was when like the quality and direction really started to turn around for that show.
For sure.
And I'm curious, like, did you see that happening with One Piece? And you're like, I think now's the time. Like, now's the time. I think One Piece needs this kind of coverage too.
Yeah, this is exactly why I started.
Yep.
As soon as Wano started, because all the news about the new character designer, the new series director Nagamine, the guy who directed Film Z,
Right.
it was, and I was always, because I'm relatively close friends with AJ. Was just talking about like, because I've talked about doing them before, like towards the end of Whole Cake Island, but that never materialized. And then it was just like the right time, like to strike while the iron was hot and like get it going.
I think also, yeah, the iron was definitely hot because I almost kind of forget that at the time, Dragon Ball Super Broly was fresh. Like it had just come out in the States earlier in 2019. So I remember when the Wano arc was getting ready to start up. Often the descriptor was, it looks like Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Yeah, the Shintani style. That's what everyone ran with, even though he has no involvement.
I know. It's ironic.
Sorry. The Dragon Ball Super thing got me all. So when you started with, so has it been kind of like surreal seeing the growth in One Piece just since you've been on, and then also the wide range of international names that are involved now?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because like, I will often like sometimes go back and like rewatch even just like Whole Cake Island episodes, like when the dub comes out and everything.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, and even back then when like it felt like it was improving, there's just like it's so much different now. Like,
yeah.
Just like the entirety of like the direction and the animation has improved tenfold, in like much. It's much better than like a long running series has any right to be. I think at certain points, which is definitely a testament to Nagamine and his forward thinking and his whole idea to make it like One Piece but cool. I think is what he was saying when like Wano was starting, and that definitely goes into like inviting, because that's like the anime industry as a whole right now is obviously they are suffering due to like a lack of staff for whatever reason or another. So a lot of series are bringing in the foreign like names and everything, but it has allowed a lot of like people who are very passionate about the series, like Vincent or like Chris the NBM, like a lot of people who are very passionate about the series to get the chance to participate in it, and the staff have highlighted them like a lot too on like those like Mugiwara Twitter spaces that they used to do, I think like a year ago.
Oh yeah.
Like Nagamine would have like a letter that I think he would have every single week, and it would like list off like the highlighted like animators, and sometimes it would be like Vincent or like Chris, just to it's definitely changed a lot and for the better, and I'm glad that those people have gotten the chance.
Yeah, it's such a, well, I mean, like we were talking about ending themes, Steve, last week. Just the fact that, Steve, you were 17 when there were last ending themes in One Piece. Like, it's crazy the breadth of time that this series has been, that animators could not only have like grown up watching One Piece, but had a lot of their career inspired by
some animators weren't even born yet, I don't think, that have worked on the show.
Some of them definitely not.
I was gonna say it's been going
not
on.
many, but I know there's some youngins recently.
24. Yeah, this is the 25th year, I think, this year.
25th is next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you could be 24. It's a completely normal age, I feel like, to be an animator. It's young, but it's not that young. Nuts. But it's really cool. I agree. It feels like a completely different show.
It does. I still remember watching episode 1000 with a friend, and he fan of the series, but was not keeping up with the anime, and we watched that episode. Maybe it was that, or then like we went back and watched the I forget which number it is. Maybe it was 987, or whatever the ones with like Queen's performance and all.
Yeah, that's the one with Ishitani, right?
982, I think.
982. Yeah. Thank you. I was confusing that with 957. Yeah,
right.
It's the other one, right? That was the where was that?
Yeah, it was the Warlords and all that.
Right. Oh God, that was a cool one too.
Just watched it again recently too, because I always go when new dubs come out. I always go back and watch it, but.
It's surprising how far they've gotten too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's another. It's such a
story.
weird time. I'm an old man in this fandom. I will admit that.
You're younger than me.
I remember.
That's not fair.
I know, but I remember we were starting the podcast out, and Marineford was the current manga arc, and
Marineford and Strong
the latest
Shabadi
in the latest dub
anime.
set. And the latest dub set was Drum Island. So but fun. The whole Funimation acquiring thing is a long story that we've told to death. But my whole point was, my friend said, "How is this the same show?" Because he fell off. Sorry, it sounds weird to say. I'm just gonna call out Sung Wan. This was a conversation Sung Wan and I had, but he was just because he fell off watching during Dressrosa. I mean, I don't know, because then you half the time friends are like, "Why the hell are you not telling someone's name? Just say who it is."
You're right.
I'm weird like that.
No, I know you don't like name dropping.
I think because I don't want to do the name dropping.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm derailing the conversation. My
yes,
whole
you
point
are.
Was he stopped watching the anime during Dressrosa because just the pacing got so much to him, and just then to just show him some Wano episodes, he was like. It's like what the hell happened?
I mean, his his issues with the pacing haven't really been solved. So
yeah, that's the biggest hurdle.
It's something you can watch. Maybe once a month, maybe.
I mean, but I
says
think,
you. I'm watching this shit every week.
Yeah, me too. I was gonna say.
Although I do tend to marathon, I do watch 2 or 3 episodes at a time usually.
But let's be honest. I mean, we don't really have the luxury to do this, but I think the manga also would benefit from reading it once a month. And in that, you read 4 or 5 chapters, or 2 or 1. I was gonna say,
especially with all the breaks.
Yeah. I think that's true of both. I don't think that's. It doesn't hinder. The quality's been good enough for the most part. Where I think. We were talking about chapter 10, episode 1066, where I think animators have become really creative in how they use that time that they have to kill, versus how it used to be long pan. I mean, that still happens, but less.
And
it happens a lot less, mostly because the series directors this time around, because there's 3 of them now. There's not just Nagamine. There's currently also Satoshi Ito and Yasunori Koyama. They used to check the storyboards, I think, for a while during the series production. I'm not sure if it was from episode 1, but they started actively correcting them on their own, redrawing them if certain things don't work, or if things need to be punched up, which is very rare for a Toei show. I'm not sure how rare it is for anime in general, but that has certainly helped for the pacing.
I wonder what was the punch in the gut for Toei to start doing that.
I thank you for the segue. Because Skippy, another reason why I asked you what anime you were following to earlier, because I'm not following these series, but I just remember these series making big waves, years ago. I'm talking about stuff like Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, and people pointing out the animation, or sometimes they get it confused with the compositing.
All the time.
I just remember. I just remember seeing a viral tweet. RIP tweets. I think they're just called posts now. And someone's
what are we going to call piece
Demon
of the tweet?
Slayer has the sickest animation, and then I think someone quoted tweeted, and I'm like, yeah, that's mostly compositing what you're talking about there. But I'm curious, because I've never heard this anywhere, and I don't think anyone working at Toei will admit it. But do you feel like the way those shows and My Hero were coming off, and Fair also, those shows are seasonal. But do you think that has also had a huge influence on One Piece kind of stepping up its game?
Yeah, if not maybe not directly as Wano started, because I think Demon Slayer, I think that one big episode that everyone was talking about was, I think that's when the week Luffy and Zoro met up very early on in Wano, I think was when that Demon Slayer episode released. So I think the idea to kind of revamp the anime for the 20th anniversary was probably willingly a Toei decision, but definitely once Demon Slayer and JJK started getting popular, and the shonen with like really flashy and big animation and heavy compositing was like becoming mainstream, they definitely started to influence One Piece for sure.
And the other prong of that is that it is explode. I feel like, and maybe I don't know how in touch I am, but it feels like the One Piece community has exploded as a result of the anime stepping up its game so much.
Yeah, definitely.
There are a ton of new anime only, the people who are not caught up with the manga watchers. And I never used, well, for reasons, but I never used to see people out there like being like, One Piece is the most amazing. You should see this moment in the animation. It'll blow your freaking mind. And
yeah,
and so on. Like especially like 10 years ago, I remember just Fishman Island is this specific moment. I'm like, I don't know if I could do this anime series anymore, just because of how slowly paced and
I used to get like, I remember an old job. I was kind of, I wouldn't say mocked, but I was kind of just like scoffed at for saying like, yeah, I'm a big One Piece fan, and this person was like, man, like Bleach is where it's at, and this is in 2008, by the way. It's kind of that it's a little more dated right now because Bleach is back, and
it does look good.
The sorry, I was gonna say reboot, but I want to say reboot, but just the
continuation
of it. But it was funny, like being a One Piece fan, like prior to the Wano anime. I think it felt like a kid quietly playing with his toys in the corner, and then now all of a sudden everyone wants to fucking play with those toys.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's also like story versus animation. Like we had different priorities, I think, and now we have both, and that's pretty awesome. We have like outstanding animation and a fantastic story to go along with it.
Where was it that I've heard, and I don't know if you guys have heard this anywhere, but I feel like the key to a series' success is within the anime.
You've told me that, and I don't know where that came from.
Wow, I've heard that somewhere.
It's a thing people say.
Really, it's like the anime is truly what
the gateway
brings
drug.
it to the mainstream.
It's definitely a big part.
Yes,
sure.
I dare I say it might have been Greg. It
sounds like, right.
The anime is kind of what like promotes the manga, though. I especially think that's more prevalent in I think the US, because I feel like you'll run into an anime watcher probably a lot easier than you will a manga reader. But
agreed.
Yeah.
I went on a tangent there.
No.
It's all right.
I think it's a really good discussion to have. I mean, I forget if I've already said this or like several times in the recording, but we want to talk about the anime.
I just don't think there's a coincidence that the anime's quality improves dramatically, and all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden, like One Piece seems to be way more popular in the States. Where I was just at a convention where, unfortunately I never saw it because that con is way too busy, AX, but you got like two big One Piece banners on the exterior of the convention center. Yeah. That was not what you were last at that con in 2010, Zach. Yeah. Yep. You'd be lucky if there was a flyer for One Piece back then.
I don't think there were any. What was I gonna say? No, it's been a pretty amazing evolution to see this happening. It's unrecognizable. But speaking of, go ahead, Steve.
I sorry I cut you off. I realized I'm not sure what you're gonna get into. Talking
Gear 5. I was gonna talk about.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Get into it.
Okay. Thank you, Steve, for the okay.
Yeah.
So Skippy, from what you've seen so far, what is your take, your reaction, what do you think so far of what you've seen?
It looks amazing. It definitely. I was a little afraid because, like, obviously Ishitani has become such a huge name that people were like starting to expect her for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Like for a new opening or a new ending or for Gear 5, and I don't know if people are disappointed that the series director Nagamine is doing the episode, but he's definitely put a lot of forward thinking into this. A lot of like, I think it feels like it's been in like at least in early like development planning stages since like late last year probably. So there's been a lot of attention to, even in just the like 30-second previews that we have, like the storyboard. They have expanded upon like what was already there in the manga, which was great to begin with, but like all the really cool shots, like the several different animators that you can already see, and then like the compositing and photography and everything. It's like layered on really heavy, but it like looks super good too. I'm very excited.
And I really hope, and I think from what we've already seen, it seems like this will be the case, that the animation staff not only has fun with Gear 5, because I feel like I mean, Steve, you've been drawing a lot of Gear 5 generally, but like it's just seems like Oda had fun drawing it, and it is fun to just like embody that spirit. And I'm very excited to see the animators hopefully like get out of their comfort zone with it and just go crazy and do some different stuff. And yeah, I don't know if you have thoughts on if there's something specific you hope to see in Gear 5.
Well, there at least all the Tom and Jerryisms that were in the manga seem to be in full force so far, so that's a good sign. And I know a lot of them are going to try to do that, like a lot of animators are going to try to do it within their own style, which they seem to be encouraging, and I think that's a good thing. Like the Tom and Jerry inspiration should be there, but I don't think it should be like the major like crutch. Like I don't think everyone should have to strictly like stick to drawing it like Tom and like all the gags and everything, but like the style should be their own for sure. And I think any break they get, well, this is not really a break because they're gonna have to draw them anyway, from drawing and animating Dragon Kaido would definitely, I think, be appreciated for a lot of them.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts. Sorry, I'm and with the Ishitani thing, I think she has like such specific amazing talent, but I think at the same time Gear 5 is like such a specific type of it's different than I think a lot of the stuff that she's done so far. Not to say that she can't do Gear 5, yeah, she has the stuff that she did with the episodes I've seen her do is different, I'd say. Than
I just realized I remember like I was getting like random comments every now and then, or people saying like, "Oh man, Ishitani's animating Gear 5," and I'm just like, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if it's a leak. I'm just not going to engage with this, and I'm kind of glad I didn't because
it sets up expectations, and so people get all like into it, and like if it doesn't go their way, it's a whole shit show.
Welcome to the internet.
That's the internet, baby.
100%.
What a place it is. Ishitani had in English actually tweet a response and say, "Don't trust the rumors." And I feel bad because I mean everyone's saying good things about her. I think online, although I'm sure there's one guy. There's always one asshole, but it's. At the same time, I'm sure she's like, there are other people doing things, and don't put all this pressure on me for.
Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of like the series director Nagamine was someone she worked with closely on Dragon Ball Super, and like a lot of like the other younger episode directors at Toei that work on the show are like her close friends. So she obviously like. I'm sure she's happy that a lot of people have interest in her work, but she definitely wants to push, her other people's as much as she can.
Understandably. So should we go back to where we started and talk about merch?
Sure.
I mean, before we veer off just a little bit, I'm just curious because Skippy has been covering the anime since the beginning of Wano. Like a basic question, but I'm curious, like, what have been some of like your absolute favorite moments from the anime since the start of this arc? Like if you had like a top, if you had to make a top
that's a tough
five.
question.
It's a good question.
It's a very good question.
Just like or just lightning. What the first 5 like things that just like come to your mind?
Definitely the start with Zoro and the Magistrate, because of that amazing Kojima scene. I guess anytime Katsumi Ishizuka shows up, I because I'm a huge fan of his work and everything, so I can't really list every single one of his episodes, but like a lot of the early parts of Wano, Zoro versus King, all that.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was he gone from the series for like a while?
A long while, before Whole Cake Island.
Yeah, he was always someone I enjoyed seeing in the anime, and it was it was cool to see him pop up again.
He was on Strong World.
When did he originally start in the anime? Because like when I think of him, I like distinctly think of like Enies Lobby.
It says
I was like recognizing his stuff.
I'm just looking at ANN, but Skippy could probably answer the question better. I don't know if you know off the top of your head.
Just assume I'm asking Skippy's.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think he started around 2000 or 2001. Like he's very like one of the early members, I guess. But he started as a key animator, I think, under the original character designer Koizumi. So that's why his style had a lot of like the same like similar traits. And he's tweeted like several different times of like the One Piece like perfect shots accounts about like praising Koizumi and how much he tried to get close to his style. And then I think it was around Enies Lobby, which is when Koizumi kind of started to take a back seat in the anime. He kind of left, kind of didn't. That's when he became an animation supervisor, and that continued up till Punk Hazard, I think. And that's when his appearances on One Piece, and I think just Toei stuff in general, was really spotty, which I think he has said was because of like a personal life thing, but also I think payment too. But obviously he can't say a whole lot about it. But yeah, definitely glad to have him back.
It's funny because I was just looking him up, and I know them by their Twitter avatars.
No,
go ahead. Sorry.
I used to get Koizumi and him confused a lot because I don't think I've ever really had a chance to talk about this on the podcast because I feel like no one understands what I'm talking about. Huge Koizumi fan. I think
everybody is. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I was alone there because. Because I originally was way more ahead in the anime than I was in the manga when I got into the series. And, Oda's a huge influence on my art, but Koizumi's right up there too. His take on the characters, I absolutely adore. And I miss it a little bit, but also the series has to evolve. So I think it'd be neat, but also I think it'd be weird to see it'd be weird to see like Koizumi style straw hats in Wano. I don't know. It's like oil and water.
Maybe the next location may have.
He did come back briefly in a key animation. Well, I mean, he was also I think an AD, like an animation supervisor on a couple of them. In Whole Cake Island, he did Luffy versus Sanji.
That's right.
Then, Baron Tamago and Pedro. Yeah, but that was very short lived.
Oh, he did episode 1 too. Steve?
Zach.
Okay. I'm sorry. This is why I brought Skippy on too.
No, I'm talking like, this is common knowledge, but I forget this is like
no, I'll be the common person who doesn't understand.
No, it's like this is like after you've watched and reread the series so many times, like, all right, what else do you have to obsess about now? And then this is the territory you get into. But no, I think I remember when I was like watching through some of the early episodes again and just tweeting about it, and people. Someone would be like, actually, Koizumi like animated this, and I'd be like, I need more people telling me this stuff because I do actually want to know these things. But back to the original question, I'm curious if you've thought of any other stuff from Wano anime that just
the start, and then any Ishizuka scene. Definitely the Ishitani episode 10 to 15, the Red Rock against Kaido. Personally, Sanji versus Queen, that episode was phenomenal. I love that episode so much. Ryota Nakamura is amazing. And then I'm gonna reserve the 5th one for Gear 5. I think I think it deserves it.
I was gonna say.
Sure. Zach, you want to talk about toys and stuff?
Okay, Steve. See how it. No, well, is there anything else? I guess. Well, first of all, with Gear 5, it's not going to just be next week's episode. Like the really crazy cool stuff come. I think in the next episode after that. If you don't want spoilers, skip the next couple seconds. I think the giant Luffy is in the following episode.
Yeah, should, because I think they seem to be going with like a chapter per episode as of late, so it's definitely going to be in like 1072 rather than next week.
And the jump rope, I think, where Steve, you got that image from last year. There's, and I'm just so excited to see all of that. And I think they even said in one of the announcements, or I think one of the directors said something along the lines of, get ready for a lot of really good episodes coming up. Like we're not going to have any drop in quality or something along those lines for the next few weeks.
Feels like something Chu Young-sa, who's one of the chief animation supervisors and like just a hugely like popular action animator on the series. I think he actually tweeted today that there was like going to be a lot of like amazing episodes up till the end of the fight, and there was going to be like a lot of guest animators like almost every week. So I'm sure there will still be some varying quality, but yeah, they should all be very well produced.
And you know what? This is perfect. I'm just sorry. I was looking on whatever the hell the social media website's called. That they're just advertising for Gear 5 all over Japan, which is cool. I thought they looked like movie posters, and I was getting excited. I think there's been rumors about like whether or not those are actually they're going to show Gear 5 stuff in theaters. Was the one in France ever confirmed, or is that just a rumor?
I think they said today that Toei or Shueisha, one of them said no. Okay. So I think Barcelona right. is doing like an unauthorized one or something like that.
Kind of like the Dragon Ball Super.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly,
yeah.
They should. More unauthorized.
God, that reminded me of the Saudi thing, too. Remember that?
Oh God. Okay, that's not even. You mean Oda's guest appearance?
Surprise appearance, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. It, especially with kind of like what Twitter, like what a lot of viral Twitter accounts have turned into. Don't believe everything you read online.
Actually, don't believe most things you read online.
We're at that point.
So Ed did mention One Piece Day and how Gear 5 focused it was, and it had the giant Gear 5 Luffy balloon, which also made me extremely happy. Since we're going to talk about toys, Steve, as if you don't have a whole shelf of One Piece figures.
I do. I was just curious, like what if toy discussion was on the list of demands today. I'm just
well, I was just gonna say,
I'm not trying to take the piss out of you, Zach. I was just like,
oh, it hurts.
Did like Skippy ask to talk about merchandise or something? I'm
surprised. I
love all the merch. Like every single tweet, it's amazing.
No, it's just
a problem.
It's just. I know you do. It's just that we were saving like all the lead up to Gear 5 discussion, and part of that hype, like for some reason, as Ed said, like 80% of the announcements at One Piece Day were related to merch surrounding Gear 5 stuff. Was there anything that stuck out to you, like I need this, or conversely, why did they make this? For Skippy, you could go first. I don't know if there's anything that popped out.
I don't think anything was like, why did they make this? Because I mean, I understand it's like a hugely hotly anticipated form, so like, so they're gonna market the hell out of it. But at least I think the Toei animation like statue that had like, it's like I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a huge figure with like a bunch of different Gear 5.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that one.
Like Gear 5 and like big text and everything. That one looks awesome, and I really want to get that one if possible.
Oh, is it the one where
the eyes are popping?
Where it says
out.
One Piece
here it is.
And like Luffy's yanking at the logo?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes,
yeah.
I just posted it into our discussion. That I love that. I love fourth wall breaking personally with Luffy, so I want to see more of that. Ed, do you?
And definitely the little figures with the with like the eyes are all popping out and everything. Those are fun too.
Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna be hard not to buy a bunch of stuff. Steve, do you have room? Because I know you were thinking of buying a house just for One Piece figures, right?
I mean, I'm gonna have to. I don't have room.
I know you don't.
It's I chose to just live in too expensive a city, but
don't tell people I live like this.
It's tempting. Yeah, I definitely have to make choices, but I don't what they've shown so far, does not disappoint. Something I want to talk about with Gear 5 too, and like this has been on my mind lately, and we're guilty of this too at the podcast. But since we had no idea what the color scheme was going to be at the time,
yeah.
I'm so thankful his hair is not like orange.
Or like yellow, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
at least orange.
too Super Saiyan.
He looks like Carrot Top. Yeah, but I just remember being surprised when it was like, oh, he's like all white, but I kind of dig it.
It works definitely.
Yeah, I was also shocked. Yeah, somehow I love that transformations do that somehow. But I mean, if any transformation it makes sense, I feel like this one is the least surprising. The only thing is, why doesn't he get like a different? He's had the Fishman Island shirt forever, and even in this form, he has the Fishman. And in what do you call it?
What do you mean?
In the following arc, in Egghead
Future Island, I think is what they're calling it now.
My brain took a break there. In Egghead, he's wearing the future outfit, and when he goes Gear 5, changes back into this outfit, which I found interesting.
I think he's shirtless.
Or he's shirtless,
yeah.
right?
I'm pretty sure he's shirtless because Eagle-Eyed Steve.
Yeah, I know.
Made note of that when he had the.
He's shirtless, but then he has like the shorts with like the satchel and everything.
Yeah, which we could just assume Luffy is always going to wear those. So.
No, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like under the I don't even know what Vegapunk calls those suits at this point.
Future
suits? They probably future suits, something like that. Yeah.
Super science suit. That's it.
That's true. Yeah.
No, I'm just upset. I feel like we got robbed of an all white version of that. But it's fine. I'll be okay.
Fan art has definitely made up for that. I think I've seen a few.
Thank God for fan art. Fill in the void. Was there any other Gear 5 stuff you wanted to talk about, Skippy or Ed or Steve?
None.
It's ironic that it's coming a year. I think it might be almost a year after like it appeared in Film Red. I think that's very funny. I don't know if that was planned, but just somehow ended up that way. But that is amusing.
Said disappointed. You were disappointed to see it in Film Red. You were saying?
No, I'm not disappointed to see it in Film Red. I just think it's amusing that a year after it first appeared in the movies when it appears in the anime.
Yeah, it's I just asked because I think it seems like that was a controversial choice.
People seem to think it was Toei's idea too, but I think it must have been like either Oda or Taniguchi. It must have been one of their decisions for sure.
I agree with that.
I mean, I have like friends that care too much who are just like, nah, that was dumb. And then I'll go, but then I think about the times I saw in theater and just like the ovation it got. So I don't know.
I think movies, well, first of all, it's a movie, like even though Uta and the whole, it was such a phenomenon. I think when you have a movie, you should, fan service is part of it. That kind of fan service. I mean,
absolutely.
Look at Stampede. So I for the ovation itself, I feel like it's worth it. That's really cool to hear. Anyway, I think that wraps it up for our Gear 5 discussion. Next week we're going to talk more about Gear 5. But thank you, Skippy, for coming on to talk about it.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah, and thanks, for doing what you're doing and like putting accurate information out there and
educating.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I know I've been gone, I think, since Henry's episode, but I'm hopefully going to be back for all the Gear 5 episodes, so fingers crossed.
Awesome. And there was some good stuff. There was some good stuff in between too.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Thank you, Skippy. Let's move on to
No
the
problem.
next part of the podcast.
Hey, it's time for the SGS, and that means you got me, that's Steven, and
You got me. I'm Greg.
hey.
SGS. Still don't know what it stands for. We got some good ideas,
No,
but
it's a mystery. It's a mystery segment.
I think the best probably at this moment is Steven, Greg, and Simba. I think that's probably the...
It's accurate. Present for every episode so far. Yeah, how you holding up in the summer heat over there?
It is hot and not in the... Oh, it's so hot outside. It's hot and so humid that when you walk outside, it's actually a little bit hard to breathe.
Ooh.
Ooh. Yeah.
That's no fun.
Go Japan. How about you? I hear over in the States, my parents are talking about it being really, really hot, but
yeah,
I'm not sure how that...
Yeah, it's a little cooler today, but it's been real nasty the last couple of weeks, so no fun. And that's why we're inside in the air conditioning.
Gambarimo show.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know what's new in the world since we talked last. It was only like a week.
Yes, only a week, and we had a lot to digest on the main podcast. I was able to guest on there for the first time in quite a while, and so much news that I think by the end of it, Zach was just like, "We are not discussing it anymore. We're just going to read through it."
Yeah.
But yeah, One Piece Day happened.
One Piece Day. Yeah.
You had, of course, I think an annual event for you, San Diego Comic-Con.
Yes, it is.
All right.
It's my home convention.
Nice.
As they say.
So we'd like to discuss some of that later, but I think we also have 2 chapters of One Piece to address.
Yeah, we did. Of course, we did talk about them last week in mixed company, but I suppose there are some thoughts that might occur that we were not able to go in depth on. So obviously, we're all familiar with what happened in the last 2 chapters. I hope if you're listening to this, pretty much just an isolated scene on the pirate island Hachinosu, where we've seen. Garp and members of Sword execute a rescue mission, and ends up with some very heroic actions from Kobe and Helmeppo and Prince Groose, and of course Garp himself, who is left behind to an unknown fate. Was there anything on the top of your mind about this that you didn't get out that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I've been living in these 2 chapters the past couple of days because they're my next column coming up. Mm-hmm. So I've been inundated with going back and forth, between scenes here. But one thing I have not really talked about yet is that I do believe, unless he had a stock chapter ready, but I do believe that this, if that was the case, I don't think they'd ever have held it off this long, because jumping out of One Piece is like, it's like not having football to air on whatever night it is that football airs on in the States anymore. But
half of
them. This is the first chapter post surgery that he's drawn.
Right.
So how many Panda Man is he going to draw, right? Like now that he can hopefully see quite well. How is the line work going to be? It was one of my big expectations coming into these chapters, and I don't know if this is just a LASIK thing. Like he had some, if not LASIK, something extremely similar to it performed in order to kind of get back better eyesight. And my mom had LASIK done when I was in high school around that time or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember her saying like it took time, like it didn't immediately like come into focus, but like things healed and shifted around, and when all was said and done, things looked quite good. But I don't know if he's in that looked quite good state or not. But either way, just the capybara here with Ace on the cover, it does look more clean. Interestingly enough, he's been doing so many wobbly lines and whatnot that like it seems to have a more cartoony weight, despite the line itself being more controlled, if that makes sense.
For the capybara image, you mean?
For the capybara image, I'm looking specifically at like Ace's arms, and specifically the arm that's reaching up. That inner line, the one that's nearest the text, that is a beautiful line. Like that is almost. I want to say not peak, what I consider peak, like around the Enies Lobby era, but that is almost like early One Piece curvature and weight. But all together, everything looks like it still has the wobbly weight to it, all said and done.
Yeah.
So his arm there would have looked much more lanky, I think, in if this was his like cover story. If you compare the two.
Yeah.
So it's interesting where we've ended up here.
He's kind of it's almost Michelangelo-esque, right? Sistine Chapel. He's reaching out. He's got the finger
giving him a light.
Yeah. Yeah. I do agree. Like there's certain area you can still see that he's able to do some very delicate line work that isn't quite so scratchy when he's when he's really intending to do that, which I don't know if it was a time thing or if it was like just straight up an eyesight thing, but I'm working right now on compiling the volume 106 chapters for the SBS and all that stuff, and it always varies from chapter to chapter, but like some of those, you have pages where it's just like, man, this is really rough at times.
Yeah.
So, any improvement is good, I think.
So yeah, I don't know how everybody feels, but I do see a difference. And thus far, I like it. I've been looking at MOOCs lately, mob MOOCs, and there are cases where they seem a little bit better, and then cases where it's like, oh, this is not too changed. Oh, but then there's the Garp has his wanted poster, right, for the for Cross Guild, and that's some beautiful work on that. I mean, look, that is detailed. I don't even know if that was like a Oda like challenge to himself, like, can I do this, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, let's see what else. I am very interested to see how the Shima for the I'm sorry, what did you call it?
Isle fruit.
Isle fruit. Yeah. All right. I am interested how that is going to play out, because it doesn't look like it's limited by the number of limbs that one person has. If I haven't seen that correct, yeah. Unless those are legs down there, it covered up by the interrobang.
Yeah, I think it could be.
You think it could be, and you can just stand up?
Know. I didn't really like. I remember talking about that when we went over that chapter, and I think not because now I'm looking at 1088 too, and there's the spread, the one where Garp actually punches the skull. There's a big panel there, and it's kind of the same thing, but they look more like legs for sure in that one. So he just didn't draw the feet.
Yeah, see, I think this might, if he can do that, I think this might put him in the Frankie category, which is rough. I think that might.
How so? What is the Frankie category?
I think for Final Fight, I think that might put him with Frankie.
Because
if he's that large. I mean, very large, but I picture biggest being Robin with San Juan Wolf, just because size, like that's her
right,
her weak point, I guess you could say, is size is and having that kind of clash with her against him seems appropriate, especially with giant heritage in there as well. So because of her connection to Saul,
yeah.
He looks kind of like Saul, so they might be from the same race of giant or ethnicity of giant. But yeah, that does change things for Frankie, and I say that because maybe there's like a docking or a robo thing for Frankie's future, especially after meeting Vegapunk. So basically something very large versus something very large.
Yeah.
Seems to be par for course for Oda, but
it is kind of funny. Like now that I'm thinking more about it, of just like his sort of dimensions here as the island that he's kind of consistently, it's like he's like a big baby man, like with just his hands and his legs. He's like stuck on his back and his legs just kind of kicking there. It's just such a weird concept.
It's actually Cronenberg. He's a Cronenberg creation.
Yeah. What do you make of his? I don't think we really got too deep into it, but like the general mechanism here, where like Pizarro has his human form. That's like where he quote unquote actually is, and yet he is still he's like fused with the floor or something.
Yeah,
like
I think he's fusing into the floor, is he not?
Yeah. How do you suppose that works?
I guess it's a limiter, so he can't like be hovering in the air. He can't be somewhere else and not affecting the island. Like he can't be on a ship and affect the island. Theoretically, we don't know how.
Yeah, because
if or when he wants to use devil fruit weakening in that or not, right? Like that seems to be a thing for both, because an island is connected to seawater. So
yeah, and it was like that was kind of how Pika worked. Remember, because Zoro had to like cut him into smaller pieces because he was inhabiting, one part of it basically.
Yes, he's pretty much moving around in there, almost mech style, but like I am interested in how the it seems more like a Robin thing, and I did mention this on the podcast, but injury. I think someone said like it slices his hand, or it cut his hand in half. It's not one. Doesn't seem to be one for one. He obliterates that hand, and his hand is not obliterated. It is bleeding, but it seems to have just taken damage. Rather than have been cut or sliced in half. So he's certainly not invulnerable. That's a nice power stop there.
Right. Yeah, we did talk about that. It's useful.
I don't know. What else here? I think it... Oh, we didn't really talk about we did talk about the cover. I don't know. I feel like I'm almost retreading ground here, so at this point. But do you have anything to add or say? Any final thoughts
about the two chapters together?
About the two chapters together, yeah.
No, I mean, I think I really got my feeling. I think they were a fantastic pair of chapters that told a really strong story that I wasn't necessarily expecting or asking for at that point, but really just speaks to the dedication to like his original characters and the roles that they play in the story and the ways that he keeps them relevant, and was very heartening to see, even though in a way it's kind of a tragic chapter, I guess. Obviously you're supposed to come away with it thinking this is the end for Garp. So, it's ominous in a way, but, in terms of what it did for their characters, I thought just really, really tremendous.
Yeah. And I guess maybe as a final note for me is, Kobe, we always go to Usopp for he represents the everyman. Yeah. He represents the person, but Kobe, I feel, rather than the everyman, I think Kobe is supposed to be the reader, and specifically not any reader, but who originally Oda intended this for as a 5-year story. The child who is being told, by adults what to do and do this and do that, and by society and teachers. And over the course of 5 years, he anticipated, going that long. I'm sure he had that kind of confidence. But I think he wanted Kobe to, in real time, 5 years, grow up and be the kind of character that he is now, displaying this kind of power. And if you do read it like that, with the thought process that the original reader should have been 12, 13, starting to read it, and finishing at 18, just about to go off into going off into society, it matches up perfectly. So I really do think that we talk about Usopp and Nami as the every people, but I do think this was his big plan for Kobe to represent the core reader of One Piece.
Interesting.
But something I want to veer back around to, San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
This I have been looking forward to asking you about this, because unfortunately this is the kind of BS that I have to answer, and I have to think about what can I say and what can I not say, and how do I phrase this? I believe you had the opportunity to meet the author of Vinland Saga.
Yes, I did. Yeah, that was the first time I have ever met an author of anything that I've worked on, and really, short of Oda, Makoto Yukimura would have been number 2 as far as oh shit, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. So it was a big deal for me, for sure.
May I ask for something of a summary of it, because I know the series is now massively popular around the world thanks to not only your work in translation but also the anime. I know that it is Vikings and that it is quote unquote not what you expect is what I've been hearing or told, or I'm not sure, but what is the series?
Yeah. What is Vinland Saga? It is you could call it historical fiction. It is based on a real person. The main character is Thorfinn Karlsefni is his full name. And he was a real life protege of Leif Erikson, who famously sailed through Iceland to Greenland and then to the New World. And Thorfinn was a younger guy who also did the same thing and created one of the settlements there in Newfoundland somewhere. It's on Prince Edward Island, I believe. And so this is a story that kind of it tells a fictionalized version of this man's life, where he's trying to imagine, the author is trying to imagine coming from Viking society, which is very violent, and it's based all around a sort of might makes right, strong feats of combat and of seizing plunder and stuff like that is lauded. That's what you're supposed to do. That's if you're strong, you do that, and that's what makes you great. And he tries to imagine, how does someone go from that mindset to wanting to sail away to to the New World, where there is no to their mind civilization to plunder or whatever. And so he basically, it is the story of this kid Thorfinn, who suffers a tragic loss. He's with his dad. His dad is like a legendary fighter. He was a great Viking, and then he just gave it up. He was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want. He becomes more or less a pacifist. And Thorfinn, as a child, is like, drawn. He's like any other child. He's like drawn to the wonder of being a Viking and going raiding and stuff. And he doesn't understand why his dad is like different about it. And then through some events, his father perishes. And he is, as a child, Thorfinn is like left with the band of Vikings that killed his dad.
Whoa.
And then he is basically raised by them. And so he has this like very strained and very sort of revenge focused, like sort of secondary father figure thing where, he's raised by the man who killed his dad, and he's trying to prove himself so that he's worthy of having a duel so that he can kill this guy.
Wow.
And so there's a lot, that's the prologue of the story basically. And it's told against the backdrop of the the Danish invasion of England, where they took over part of England in right around the year 1000. And from there, just like there's a lot of stuff that happens to him, and he too kind of comes to a realization that he renounces violence as well. And so Vinland, as the new world, is like it's the Eden, it's the place of plenty where the land is warm and you can make crops and there's no war and there's no slavery and whatnot. And so he tries to find like-minded people to go on this voyage with him. And at the point that the story is now, it's pretty close to ending. They are in Vinland at this point, and so like the natives are a major part of the story of them kind of interacting with the tribes that live there and stuff. And so he's kind of figuring out how to tell the end of the story now. And so that's kind of where we are with Vinland Saga at this moment in time, when they decided, hey, let's get him out to America to go to a big convention. I'm not sure if they could have brought him to Anime Expo, because that's kind of like the biggest anime specific. San Diego Comic-Con is kind of everything under the sun.
Okay.
And obviously, it's totally cool to have. We had Kohei Horikoshi Sensei was there a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And so it's it can be done to have a Japanese artist come out and still get tons of attention and press and stuff. And it was like a whirlwind schedule. It's a 4-day event, and he had stuff going on all 4 days, as far as I could tell.
And so, tying this back around to your work on the series, under what circumstances were you able to meet him? Did you work with him, or was this an opportunity to meet him? How did this all occur?
So I go every year, and the editor for Vinland Saga is also he's basically like the publishing director at Kodansha Comics, or Kodansha USA. I forget what the title is, but it's kind of like it's a Penguin Random House company. So like the staff there that work on the print books are basically like on loan kind of from PRH, and they just work on the manga that Kodansha Japan sends to them, more or less. Okay. And so he's kind of like the guy calling the shots to a certain extent. And Vinland was like one of his babies too, where he was like, oh, I really want to keep, stay hands-on with this one, because most of the time he's just assigning stuff. Okay. But I usually meet him like most years, because he's usually there doing business stuff. And he told me this year, he's like, oh, well, stay tuned, because I think we're going to get Yukimura, down to San Diego Comic-Con, and have him on a panel and stuff. And so if you want to take part in that, let me know. And I was like, absolutely, yeah. So basically, officially, I was there to be on the panel, which was Ben, the editor, and me, and we had an interpreter who kind of like runs events for Kodansha, and so she did the interpreting for him, and then a moderator, and so we just kind of did some Q&A stuff where we had a list of pre-prepared questions to ask him, and then at a certain point we would cut it and then go to fan Q&A where they line up and ask their questions directly. And that was Saturday. It was Comic-Con is always Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the panel was Saturday morning, but Thursday night we had kind of a meetup get together thing where we did a little dry run. We went over the questions and went out to dinner and stuff, and got lots of sort of hands-on time, just interacting, chatting, stuff like that. So that was the first point that I got to see him.
Okay.
And hang out.
How did that go? What was the first introduction like?
Oh, I was very nervous, and I will admit I kind of flubbed it. Like which I think it turned out okay, but for people that aren't aware, aisatsu in Japanese, like formal greetings where you got to say the right thing and introduce yourself and all that stuff. And I was a little thrown off by because when I walked in the place, the interpreter kind of introduced me first, and which I was sort of expecting that I was going to walk up and say, "Hi, I'm the translator for Vinland Saga," blah blah blah. So my mind just kind of went blank, and so I was like, "Oh boy, I hope I didn't leave a poor first impression." But he is super cool. Like I don't know. Obviously, this is the first artist I've met, but I know that like there a lot of stereotype of mangaka is like you sit in your office all day and the only people you interact with are like your assistants basically, and so a lot of them are very withdrawn and shy, and like you really have to get them out of their shell, their comfort zone. And Yukimura is like he is totally fearless. Like he was up for everything. He was totally cool. Just like really happy to be there, really excited, and was like no issues whatsoever. And in fact, that was kind of why we decided we wanted to make sure that there was like a maximum of time for fan questions, because we were like, some people are going to be like, oh no, we got to bottle this up. Like everything has to be controlled. We have to know what the questions are going to be. We have to make sure everything is on a script and everything. But he was like, no, just hit me with them, bam bam kuru. So like,
wow,
it was really impressive to see him just sort of handle all of that. So
what did you get to ask any? Did you get to ask any juicy questions?
Not really. I mean, I wasn't necessarily expecting to. I didn't go in with like burning thoughts on my mind. I just kind of wanted to to meet him, get to know him and stuff. We did we did like over the Q&A stuff, we did ask him some like questions about process, and I had a question or two that, or like a confirmation or two, because he does, for example, this is pretty rare, I think. It's not rare that mangaka work digitally. Obviously, more and more these days, it's rarer to find people that just work with paper. But he has a very specific process where actually all of his sound effects are like he does do the art on paper, I believe, or at least he did prior to Corona, when he could actually meet with his assistants and everything. But all of his sound effects and all of the extra text stuff is on a separate layer. So actually, like when we get the materials, like the letterer can just like, he just clicks a button and they're gone, and he can just totally put in whatever the English stuff. So it's like it's like if our poor art retoucher for One Piece, who has to manually erase and redo all of the sound effects, it's like, what if you could just click like the eye icon on the Photoshop layer and they're just gone. So I asked him like, oh yeah, you do that separately, right? And he's like, oh yeah, that's right. We do those digitally.
Suge, that
yeah.
is really cool.
Yeah. He also does, he shapes his, this is how like, this is how considerate this guy is. He shapes his text bubbles so that they are kind of naturally more horizontal in general, which, you know, some artists are like very vertical, you know, like they make the most of the line width. Oda's pretty good about doing horizontally shaped bubbles as well. But most artists, you know, it's pretty common, you know, to have like, oh crap, this is I really want to use this like 5-syllable word here, but it's this very narrow panel and they're going to have to break it over like 3 different lines in order to make it fit. So I probably can't use that word.
The Tootsie Roll bubbles.
Yes, exactly. The Tootsie Roll. So yeah, like the thought that he was like, yeah, actually this is going to make it easier for like international audiences as well to produce their editions of it. It's like, wow,
that's Galaxy Brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, you know, it was cool. We went to a I think I tweeted about this. We went to a bit of a tourist. It's not really a touristy place because it is really a dive, but it is known as the Top Gun bar because it is the place where they filmed the bar scene from Top Gun, which was, you know, a good selling point to convince them like, hey, Sensei, do you like Top Gun? You know,
especially with the movie. Yeah, the sequel.
Yeah, the new one.
Too.
Yeah.
The timing is perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we were. There were some other folks there. Obviously, there was a large entourage, and I also got to meet the. I guess he's the former editor in chief because I believe the magazine was kind of folded into one of the other ones, but the magazine Evening, which is a Kodansha. They have Afternoon, which is what Vinland Saga is serialized in, and they have Morning, and then Evening was kind of like the third of the grouping. And
now
so,
it's just called Day.
Yeah. No, I think they, for some reason, they folded Evening, and now it is the like secondary thing called Morning 2. So I mean, I guess that, you know, you have Morning and then Afternoon, Evening, and then when Evening is over, it's Morning 2. I don't know. I don't know how that thought process worked, but yeah, he was there too. He was very excited about the Top Gun stuff. We were chatting with him.
I'm sorry, just in my head I got this what was it, Jimmy Nantuka learning English skit from
yeah.
10-2 Morning 2.
Yeah.
Oh god.
The okay. Guy. Yeah. Wow. So that was so we basically packed in, you know, imagine like 20 people or so, and we're in like the back room where they had it reserved, and there's no air conditioner, there's just like a couple ceiling fans, and so it's like probably 85 degrees the whole time, and we're just slamming barbecue and beers back, and it was by the time it was done, I felt like I had been through like a sweat lodge or something. It was a very surreal kind of experience.
Jeez.
But yeah, that was the first night. Then he had booth signings. They had like a limited, you know, you had to win a lottery ticket basically. Well, you know, Willy Wonka golden ticket to get to the interview line. But he had like an hour-long signing on Friday, and then there was another one on Saturday. But the Saturday was also the panel day, so we did that in the morning, and it went really well. It was a really great panel, and especially because we kind of prepped beforehand, and we were like, all right, so we're cutting, you know, this and this question, you know, we cut out some of the superfluous ones, the ones that are like a little bit less, you know, crucial to get over. And it turned out that, like, you know, in order to make more time for the fan Q&A, and it turned out that pretty much all of those questions, like, one of the fans asked them anyways. So we were like, perfect, yes, thank you.
That's
like,
rad.
Just, yeah, let the fans, you know, interact with him and get all those questions in, and yeah, it was great. You know, he's a total he's a rock star. Not in a bad sense, but he was just like, he was down for everything. We gave him like a whole like pro wrestling sort of introduction where everyone else got introduced first, and he was kind of waiting in the corner of the room, and then here he is, the man of the hour, and everybody cheers and everything, and so it was a lot of fun.
And you were up on the panel for that.
Yeah, so I was basically following.
Oh my god, dude, that's so cool.
I was basically following a script. It wasn't like a free for all thing. We were asking the predetermined questions, but to have like here's the author, here's the translator, here's the editor. All we needed was the letterer guy, and it would have been like the perfect setup of like, boom, here it is. Here's the Vinland Saga team. So it was cool to be a part of, for sure.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And then after that, actually this is a funny anecdote. So after that, it was like lunchtime. So we were like, all right, we're gonna head out of the convention center and walk to a little lunch place and chill for a bit before the second signing, booth signing. And so we go out we kind of walk down the hall from the panel room, and we go out the back doors. And so we were upstairs. So there's like this very large patio area, like outside the rear doors. And then, there's like, I don't know, 100 feet of concrete or so. And then there's a big set of stairs that goes down to street level. And so on this back patio, there were like a dozen guys dressed up in armor doing like full on combat LARPing. And like dressed up like knights, and they had obviously not metal weapons or shields. Like it was basically like, it was like kendo swords, basically. It was like kind of softer material, and the shields were, I don't even think they were wood. I think they were probably like cardboard, like laminated or something like that. And so they're swinging these swords at each other, and they're not actually, of course, trying to hit like vital areas. They're just trying to hit the shield of the other guy. And so it's like, imagine like a Nerf bat or something just smacking flat against a surface. So it's just going bam, 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 just like an incredible racket. And the whole, and of course there's a crowd, around them, and they have it all roped off so that nobody gets too close and everything. And Sensei is just like circling around. He's just like, wow, what is this? What's going on here? You're just like completely fascinated by these idiots just, smacking each other with these fake swords. It was hilarious. Could not have been better timed, that we just stumbled across it. And then we went to lunch and just kind of hung out for a little while.
Wow. I do hope that pops up in a chapter.
Oh yeah.
That experience.
That would be great. Or like, yeah, just a little, little essay manga, as they call it, like a little, just here's what happened to me, sort of thing. Cause that would be great. That was pretty much the end of like my schedule. He did have one more signing, because he has another series called Planetes, which was his first series before Vinland Saga, and that was published by Dark Horse, and so he made sure to have a signing for their booth as well, to kind of spread the love around a little bit. But that was it. I felt the one thing that I did feel really great about is that me and my wife are, obviously we're natives here. We know, the area and stuff. And so they got so much advice about, well, where can we go? What can we do if we have an hour? Where should we go eat? And, Sensei wants this, Sensei wants that. And so we were able, like, okay, all right, here's what you do. You're going to go here, you go to this spot. Here's like the Tijuana style street taco place that's in downtown. So it's like right there. You can just walk to it. And he put up some pictures later where we were like, oh, he went, yeah. So that was, that was cool to be play the role of a host a little bit.
Perfect.
Yeah. And we sold him on the whole, he was just completely in love with the area, and we were like, okay, and here's the, just in case you were actually serious, here's the real estate prices in case you really want to move here. And he was like, oh my God, oh well, never mind.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Well, still holding out for Oda to visit Jersey someday.
Yeah.
Take him to Jack's 5 Pizza on the boardwalk.
There you go.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask this, and if you can't discuss this, no worries whatsoever. But were you able to tell him about the series that you work on, in addition to Vinland Saga?
A little bit. Like it only briefly arose. I wasn't necessarily trying to talk his ear off. To be clear, like again, this is a very large entourage, and there were a lot of people. There were a lot of demands on his time and attention and stuff, and I did not want to get too up in his face. But he did learn that I was the translator for One Piece. I should mention that here while and I'm not really sure how to phrase his response. It was kind of like a combination of like, good work, congratulations, and also my condolences, all kind of wrapped into one. Just recognizing the sheer pressure and amount of work that goes into something like this. He was also very excited that I was the translator for the Battle Angel Alita series, which I did the hardcovers that came out not that long ago. Obviously, the original, it was originally published back in the 90s in English, and so that had been the only edition out for a long time. And then as like a I forget which year, it was like 25th anniversary or 30th anniversary or one of those. They put out big hardcovers just before the James Cameron produced movie was going to be out. So there was a nice shiny new edition, and I did that from scratch. And yeah, he was very excited about that one. He was like, "Oh, it's like everything, everything that manga is to me is Gammu, is Battle Angel Alita." And so we got to chat about that for a minute.
Wow.
Yeah.
Noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Jeez, congratulations, man. That is,
Thank you.
I am so happy to hear that.
I'm glad I got to talk about it with you, because I'm like, there's really only one other person I know who can actually speak to what this sort of experience is like to come into such close contact with a big creator, a creative mind.
I'm waiting to ask you these same questions about Oda someday. So
that'd be nice.
Yeah,
I definitely recognized some of the areas where I'll need some more practice in my conversational Japanese before I meet him. But hey, it's good to realize these things before he goes too much longer.
Very cool. Well, I from the bottom of my heart, congratulations.
Thank you
to you for that. There is nobody I think that I know who deserves experiences like that due to their work and dedication in the industry. So happy to hear that. Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, if I could be salty for a minute about so there's the Eisner Awards. That's like the big comic awards that they do at San Diego Comic-Con, and their manga, they have a best adaptation or best edition of international material Asia prize, which is basically the manga prize. Although they do sometimes put Korean and Chinese comics there too, but it's always a crapshoot as far as like what will get nominated and what will actually win. And it often ends up being, it's sort of like Miyazaki at the Oscars, where it's just like, Junji Ito, like, oh yeah, I love that guy, let's just give him the award. That sort of thing. But I was like, when I heard that Yukimura was going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, I was like, imagining, amazing dreams in my head. I was like, oh man, the anime is such a hit now. Like, what if Vinland Saga got nominated and actually won, and he was there, and he could actually like go up there and accept the prize and everything? And then, it totally was not, it was not nominated or anything like that. But I was just like, oh my God, that was the opportunity. So I was a little salty about that, more than usual. I'm usually salty about the way they do it at the Eisners, but that's just a little, petty professional gripe that I have.
Well, I'm sorry that didn't work out, but
yeah,
next year.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely wants to come back. If not for San Diego Comic-Con, then just, for vacation. So we'll see what the future holds.
All right. Speaking of the future.
Mm-hmm. The near future.
The very near future. As in like almost a month away future. Mm-hmm. There was a trailer that was just, I don't know if you know this.
While I was doing all of this stuff that I was just talking about, traipsing around the convention center and being totally mobbed and overwhelmed by this experience, was One Piece Day, where every piece of news related to One Piece all came out at the same time, and I'm completely preoccupied with other stuff. So that's how it went for me.
And it was a big one.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know if you know this or anybody knows this, but initially there was going to be a crossover. You know how they had the countdown for a trailer. I don't know if you were able to catch a thing on YouTube. Mm-hmm. But there was a big countdown leading up to it, and initially it was going to be a same time broadcast with a San Diego Comic-Con panel. And
for Netflix.
Yes. And they were going to do One Piece Day Studio and the San Diego Comic-Con panel at the same time, counting down. Yeah. Unfortunately, as you know, the industry is in quite the kerfuffle right now.
Yes, unfortunately,
so that was not to be. Obviously, the Japan side is free to promote it as they like. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's why that was a big to do, and it was almost something even bigger. But maybe season 2, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that would have been really cool. Yeah, that would have been the perfect opportunity to do it.
And then, yeah, you might have even, depending on the schedule, you might have been able to experience part of that as well. So.
Yeah, we did our one panel, our one like sort of industry, showbiz panel that we did go to was Good Omens, which is a TV show on Amazon, I think. Yeah, they had their season 2, and that was the first season was one of my wife's favorites, and I enjoyed it a lot too. And so instead of having people there, they basically just played the first episode that I think they just came out this week. So it was a very short early preview, only by a week or so. But there were no people there. It was basically just a guy who came out and said, "All right, here's what we got. Enjoy." And then they just played everything on the screen. And I guess that would have been the equivalent of what we would have gotten if they had gone ahead with the One Piece thing, I guess.
Yes. So too bad this time, but maybe in the future. But shall we talk about this trailer a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
And we're just want to be clear to everyone listening. This is not the. Did you notice 200 things from the One Piece trailer? and we're also not going to go too crazy on this because Steve and Vera will be discussing this in great detail, I do believe. So don't want to steal their thunder. But while you have the two of us, this might be a good time for us to kind of discuss what each of us took out of this.
And I will say on the topic of like the 200 details you may have missed, I know that there were lots of people pointing out, and I think you did some of this as well, like all of the little, what would you call them, like wardrobe cameos of like, hey, they're wearing the thing from this color spread and they're wearing the thing from that color spread. And I think that stuff is like, it's really fascinating. Like it's entertaining as an Easter egg sort of thing. And the fans, obviously, it gives them something to chat about while they're, waiting for the day to arrive. But I will say, for my part, I'm definitely like, that's cute and all, like that's a great attention to detail, but that's not going to matter to me unless the acting and the writing and the the editing and all the stuff that really makes you feel like what this story actually is on point. So I will withhold my judgment about those little Easter eggs until I know the show is good, basically.
You know who else feels that way? The man himself.
The man himself, yeah.
Yes.
The big man.
Yes. Same thoughts.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
so
good. That makes sense. That makes sense that he would.
I'm just going to play this, and you want me to just kind of narrate what we're going through? Because I'm not gonna,
sure. I have it open too, and I'm just going to like skim or flip through it.
So we open on the chains and the cuffs, and then the stand, and go immediately into the famous phrase. Yes. I guess I should have said this just a moment ago before we just got into it, but I'll preface that I had a very different experience with the trailer. I experienced this without being too specific, in a very different way than many people have. It was definitely the first time I saw it, the trailer itself, but I just had a different way of, it will forever have impacted many people listening to this than it impacted me. So there are probably things here that I'm looking at that other people are going to be like, well, what did you think about it? I'm sorry. It was different. And maybe in another month we can talk about that a little bit more in detail. But the voice here of Roger, what do you think about Roger's voice? I think a lot of people were into like, what do you think about the mustache or this or that? But do you think he carries...
Let me unmute my trailer so I can listen to it for a second here.
Sure. As I instantly give you a hard question.
Yeah, it's he's not as deep as the anime actor, for
right?
sure.
Not by a long shot, right?
Right.
I mean, that's God. That's the Otsuka family, right? I mean, originally.
Right.
Yeah, you're not gonna match that.
Yeah, that's true.
But I do like the gruffness of it.
I like the look of him.
I like the look. People were like, hey, he looks too ratty. He was like, he's been in captivity.
Yeah, he's dying.
And he's dying.
Yeah.
So yeah. And we got Dragon here, in the crowd. A very, very telling green hooded cape.
Right.
Okay, so here's something that's interesting, and my barber pointed this out.
Oh boy,
this is like I'm fascinated by what the Japanese take will be on this, or is right now on this.
Yeah,
and you see Luffy, sitting in front of the Baratie, which is a shot from the teaser. We've seen this before, but he was just like, in the world of One Piece, like, they don't have electricity, right? So like, why is there a neon sign? And I was like, while valid, the other thing you got to know about the world of One Piece is that it is unique in that there is no set technology.
Right.
Obviously, very far future things. That only exists within I was going to say a shell for egghead. That exists within a very specific area or region or part of the world. But there are ways that devices that are what we would consider quote unquote modern have snuck into the series in other ways, and who knows how that's being powered? It could be a series of rats on wheels for all we know.
Yeah.
It could have an Oda explanation for all we know.
Exactly.
But that would add to the weirdness and the wonderfulness of the world. So he was just, oh, okay. He's like, you're right. Yeah, they did have like, these devices or those devices, and it was not everything was like colonial level technology. So
right.
I love this picture or this image of Zoro here in front of the sword. Just the dead seriousness.
Yeah.
Unwavering. Oh. And there's one thing we have Usopp coming up here, and stop me if there's something you want to say as well. But one thing I agree with the critique of the trailer is that they didn't give poor Usopp a lot of time here.
Yeah, that's true.
Now he gets, later on he gets a interesting, like he gets a funny scene, but I was a little bit disappointed. I mean, he looks great.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to see a little bit more, because you can't give it all away in the first trailer, right? So,
that's right.
I think who got more lines here was Sanji, I think, had his first lines, but we'll get to that. I look at Garp, and then there's the stopping on the crowd here. There's the Apple Watch. I don't know if you heard about that.
No.
Is
there
one of the mob?
Is there an extra?
An extra with an Apple Watch on. So.
That's great.
Yeah. Oda was meant he basically sent that picture with like a LOL. So yeah, no F's given about that, which is great. It's a good attitude to have. I'm sure it will be gone by the time this airs.
Yeah, probably. I mean, look, if all the Lord of the Rings fans can talk about the shot where the car was in the background, or the thing where, when Viggo Mortensen kicked the helmet and he actually broke his toe and that's why he was screaming, like we can have our own fun with visual goofs as well.
Yeah, I think one of the best responses I saw from a poster was like, maybe she came from Egghead, and I was like, that's clever. Egghead doesn't exist yet, but clever. So Roger laughing. How is this image for you?
I really like the I like that shot. I like the way that it looks. I know there were people. Weren't there some people that were like, "Why is it so like blurry or so fisheye style or something?" I didn't really mind. I didn't have an issue with it.
I think people are thinking, like, because you saw a couple seconds of a single scene in a teaser or a trailer, that like everything is shot fisheye, and no, like these are what we're trying to do here is make a manga style where you can focus in on and I want to use this term, embiggen the feature of the scene. And semi-twist reality. I think that's what they're kind of going for here is this sense of, this is not our world. This is a different world that this is taking place in. So it's okay if it feels a little funky, and that's why I think one of the posts was like, I was just like, it's weird, it's wacky, it's wonderful, it's One Piece, and like that's what I think the fisheye can accomplish. But I do agree that you don't want to overuse it.
Right.
So.
Right.
Thoughts on the news coup?
I think it looks good. Looks great.
Okay.
I'm into it.
Anything else strike your fancy at this point, or?
Let's see. Now I'm just looking at the Love Duck and all of the swinging in action and so on.
Yeah.
I didn't. I missed the detail of the heart on the cannonball. That was that was pretty cool.
And when I showed my wife the trailer for the first time, we loaded it up on the TV. And prior to that, had been just on the phone, like watching it like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times. But watching it with her for the first time, we put it on, the big screen. And that's where I noticed that, like, not only, do they have the hearts on them, but they explode into like sparkles.
Oh.
They're if you watch
it
yeah,
it is. That is sparkles. Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. That's fun. I'm not sure, and you don't tell me anything, but like the shot after that of the like the flare going off was really interesting, because when I saw that, I don't know about you, but I'm immediately thinking of Thriller Bark. Right? Of like, oh, we found the thing, and then it goes boom up above, and then what's going to happen now? Yes. So that was kind of interesting. I was like, I'm not sure exactly which moment. I mean, you only see the first three, so I can guess where it is, but that caught my interest as a manga fan.
Yes, yeah, and I think what a lot of fans are going to have fun doing is, after the series is out, maybe going back and rewatching the teaser and the trailer, and to do those kind of comparisons. Like the what is it, when the MCU releases a movie, they're all like, "This was different from the from the teaser, from the trailer." So that might be fun.
Well, and I know obviously in today's televised and movie entertainment business, where CG is such a heavy part of it, and obviously a lot of things happen very late. So I would not at all be surprised to see like, oh, this shot is different, this shot is different, this shot is different. So that will be interesting to see, I think.
All right. Oh, one thing I did, I swear to God, I'm not gonna point out every little thing. But what do you think about this world government looking symbol on the boat here? Were you able to see that?
Let's see which. Do you have a second marker?
It is on the US Netflix. It's about the 53-second marker. It's everything is red.
Okay. I did not notice. Is it like a safe or something? The thing on the deck of the ship?
Yeah.
Or was I did not notice that.
So, all right. Oh my God, his "it's ready" is, if people weren't sold on him as Luffy yet, like, just the pride and the excitement in that exclamation. Oh, it's perfect.
I definitely was reminded because it's one of those things where it was so long ago, and it's so automatic. Like, I just take it for granted so much, but then just remembering that the very first time that I saw Luffy showing off the flag that he drew, I thought it was like the funniest thing I'd ever seen. At 17 or however old I was at the time. Yeah, that was that is a great moment for Luffy.
It's amazing. It was even better was the damn explanation for why he did. What was it? He painted an actual skull, like pretty Josen-y, on a bear or something, and in a cover, and he's like, notice, like, oh, he's trying to draw Zoro.
Yeah.
Oh, they also, I don't know if this is intentional, but he says, it's our Jolly Roger. We are. And there's a pause. The Straw Hat Crew. Like, is that
maybe a little cheeky? Yeah.
Yeah.
What next?
How about that the shot of the ship?
The long shot?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice.
Oh, I mean, maybe we're thinking different ones. The in the storm, there's a ship that capsizes.
Ah, yeah, that's a real good effect shot. I like that one.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Here's me apparently. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yes, I did hear about that.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm referring
I hesitate to ask your reaction to that.
To me, like honestly, there have been two big things the past month, and one of them was like the Reddit thread of who is Greg, and then Greg is Mary. Who is Greg? Greg is Mary. I thought both of them were hilarious. They were amazing. Super flattered, but not me by a long shot. And I don't mean looks, because, and this is a completely true story. I brought this up. We had a Pathfinder tabletop night with buddies at work, and I was talking about it with one coworker, and the other coworker chimes in, and he's like, "Oh, are you talking about how Mary, the Mary thing?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh my God." He's like, "I totally thought it was you." I was like, "Dude."
So you got it in person too.
Dude, I work with you. I've worked with you throughout Corona, and I have not left the country. You know I haven't left the country in the past 4 years now. It's like, "Oh, well, I didn't, maybe they filmed something over here." But he was like, "Yeah, I totally thought that was you." She's like, "Damn it." So yeah, I guess the resemblance is there. I if you take a look at the actor proper, I mean, in prosthetics, makeup, maybe, but if you took a look at the actual actor, we look nothing alike. So I will take this as flattery. So thank you.
Yeah.
Clever choice also to not for fans obviously, but for the general public, to conceal Kuro's identity. Very cool.
I guess that's right. That's right. I forgot about that. That's going to be a plot point. You don't want to give it away. In the trailer. I do like at it now. I know that there were people for the teaser who were complaining about Buggy's, like, his close up, his spooky, jump scare close up thing that he did. And I took it in stride. I was like, okay, I know exactly, what they're doing here. This is just kind of like, hit him with a little pizzazz of what Buggy is like. And I think the shots that we get of him, where it's hard to say if he's acting. I mean, he is acting, but there's only like a few words that he says, but I do feel like, yes, this is what I expected Buggy was going to be like, in actual scenes and stuff. And I think he seems great.
Good.
I'm enjoying the look of him.
It's quite a look, isn't it? Once they pull back that the fisheye lens, and we get to see what he looks like.
It's interesting. I have to wonder what sort of like conversations or calculations were going on where, like Buggy is Buggy. You can't change Buggy. There's not a lot of wiggle room to mess it. He's a very important character, obviously. But coming out here, with a live action version of him in 2023 after God knows how many Joker movies of like, okay, here's your crazy clown character. Like, how do we make this guy not seem to an audience that is unfamiliar with him like he's just the Joker? And that's a fascinating concept to me of like what sort of questions and solutions they might have been coming up with as far as like how do we do his makeup, how do we have his acting go and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, thus far, seems like they got the right fellow for the job. I'm not familiar with his work in the MCU, but some people have said from maybe Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something, that he was quite a not beloved, but people enjoyed him and they enjoyed his work. So I hope that remains true here.
Cool. Yeah, I skipped all of the TV shows for the MCU stuff, so I'm not familiar with them either.
I skipped all of the MCU part of the MCU, so I don't. No, I've seen the Avengers. I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
Also, what was it? Chop cannon. Yeah. He uses chop cannon here. How do you think this plays off the line from the teaser of like all great fighters give out their names, name their attacks or something like that?
Yes.
So obviously not, rejecting it. We see Luffy having done it and now Buggy having done it. So it does seem to play a role in the world.
Yeah, it makes me wonder because I mean, obviously, that line, people complained about it, but I think that's an obvious. You put that line in because there's a whole audience that is going to tune into this show that does not watch anime, that doesn't read manga, they don't understand that, like, yes, people have techniques and they have names and they're supposed to call them out, and so just a little. Turn the acknowledgement of that into like a quick little gag helps to kind of establish that for the people who are going to sit there going like, why are they calling out the name? So you turn it into something in the show. I'm not sure if that's going to be like something that is a running gag or not, but I think that was a smart inclusion on their part.
All right.
Looking at all this action we get.
I think we're at the same part. No, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to talk about Arlong, and maybe it's just because I was so focused on checking out like the makeup, the prosthetic work and stuff, but I really didn't. I didn't get that sense of like he looks like a normal sized guy. I mean, obviously, yeah, the actor is only so large, but I don't know. In terms of like his screen presence, I felt like that was Arlong to me.
I think the one point is maybe like shoulders. Like somebody was like, add some shoulder pads. Okay, I get it, but like.
That can be tough to do in movement.
It can be tough to do in movement because you're it's not in 2D. You're not doing a single frame. In action scenes, that's going to be more difficult, more expensive, and we can make excuses for that all day. I mean, if they wanted to, there's a way they could have done it. However, and I will maintain this, is that Arlong himself, when he shows up, is he has a massive chest. Let's just get that out. That is absolutely true. He has a massive chest and neck.
Yeah.
So like, yes, he is powerful, but like those arms are so lanky and the legs are so lanky that it's just like, wait, this is the villain? And if you get that same kind of impression, like, oh wait, I thought, it was going to be, and then, but when you see what they can do, and the kind of devastation that they can cause with ease. I think that's where a lot of that comes into play. Because I was the same thing. I was like, oh, Arlen he looks cool. I like the nose and everything and the teeth, and that's neat. But like he doesn't look like and then he picks up a house and flips it upside down.
Yeah. That was definitely how that went for me reading Arlong Park the first time. Was like, okay, wow, these guys look a little different. That's interesting. And then, Oda really goes out of his way to show the effects more so than just like, check out this guy's frame. I think that's, and obviously, hey, you got to show, you got a big budget. You're going to do a lot of cool effects, visual effects and stuff. So that doesn't seem like something that is too hard for them to demonstrate.
And there's plenty of time for the Moria and the Doflamingo sized characters in the future. So.
Yeah.
The Kumas.
Yeah, you can't inflate these guys too fast in terms of size. You got a lot more coming down the pipe.
So Zoro Sanji, in what definitely appears to be Arlong Park, doing a team up of sorts here, it seems. My wife actually applauded when Sanji landed. She was just like Suge.
Yeah. Yes, I know. Like a lot of folks got their kicks from the interaction.
Yeah,
between them,
bickering. I do like, again, not heavy on the Easter eggs, but I like that Luffy has milk here, or at least what appears to be milk. Maybe he went for soy milk or something. I don't know, but in Baratie.
Yeah.
Which is and with the straw too, which is perfect. Because Luffy uses a straw. It's Zoro that never uses a straw. So excellent choice.
Yeah.
We get our first look at Arlong.
Yeah.
And let's see. Looking at them. Oh, and we get the promise from Zoro. How do you feel about that?
You're my captain.
You're my captain
till the end.
Yeah.
That's
what is it in Japanese? I have it. It's 2 feet in front of me, but is it Saigo made? And he says Saigo. Is it Saigo as in the end of life, Saigo, or is it Saigo as in the end? Because I was looking at the Japanese version of the trailer and it had like end, and I was like, oh, was it that, or was it Saigo?
I don't know.
Yeah. So I think we can talk freely about spoilers in this because pretty much everybody listening is caught up to One Piece. But interesting choices for the trailer could be considered spoilers, but with zero context. Obviously, it would go over the heads of anybody. But what's happening with Arlong Park? Wow. And then we go into the Tasukete scene, which massive expectations on this.
Yeah, I was almost a little surprised to see that, just because it's such a, it's a money scene. It's like that's the thing that people really want to see, and it's like, oh, you're gonna put that right in the trailer. But I'm interested to see how that will play out in full, for sure. Because it's not just, of course, the one panel. It's the whole sequence that goes into it, and everything that plays off of each other. So
yeah. And again, if you have zero context for what's going on here, that makes no sense whatsoever. It just ticks off the box, kind of like
There's
human drama.
Yeah.
Human drama. Shot of Shanks. Looking, I have to say, a little bit derpy with this tiny brimmed hat. I'm not a super fan of that, to be honest. I would have gone a few centimeters longer on the brim, but if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a happy holiday. Mihawk looking like he's pulled from the pages of the manga, pretty much.
Yeah, the colored contact lens, or that could be a Viz shot, I don't know, but that was definitely like a. I hesitate to say eye-opening because pun was not intended, but it was just like, whoa, okay, that's an interesting detail there.
That's what that looks like.
Yeah, I guess you got to do it. If he's called Hawkeyes, he's got to have some real crazy looking eyes. So
yeah,
that may take me a little time for me to get used to, just so it doesn't seem like, cosplay color contact sort of thing.
Yeah. I love the Lord of the Coast.
Yeah.
That is such a moment to be able to see that and that amount of basically fidelity
Yeah.
and dedication on the production side, going into recreating that faithfully.
Mm-hmm. Right, because it doesn't look like, oh well, let's just make a sort of a generic, movie monster. Like it looks like it looks like the thing from The Little Mermaid.
Yeah. It's flotsam on steroids.
Yeah, for sure.
And ending with the freaking Gatling. Oh, what a cool choice! Like, maybe a climax moment for the season, perhaps, but like, what a cool choice to be able to kind of mic drop with the what's Gum action gonna look like? Gum action. I'm sorry. What does the Gum action look like in real life? This is what it looks like, and it looks awesome. And the famous recreation of the cheek pull.
Yeah.
Love this. That actually got published in Jump. That's one of the screenshots they chose to publish in Jump. I mean, it's such an iconic image.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good thing. It's like, I feel like it's the sort of thing that could have been overlooked, but like it's such an effective, if you dedicate, the resources to doing that sort of thing, it sells the power so well of like, yeah, this is what his skin is like. It's not just, he doesn't just like rear his arm back and then, a special effects shot pops in. Like, here's what it kind of, it looks like a realistic, like what if his skin was made out of taffy and he actually pulls it like that. And that's, I think that's a nice tactile effect to do.
How did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Took a bite of gum.
What else?
Just coming up, I love the logo.
It's
really,
good.
Really love the logo. It's so cool.
I think it's good. Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious if that was something that required a lot of iteration, or if they like nailed it in one or something. That I would be really curious to know, because that's it's an important thing. Obviously, that's the visual branding of your show.
Yeah. I do like the comical nature of Luffy and the nose. Essentially making the nose canal, and it does seem that they went with manga Luffy for that. So it's not Iñaki in there. So
yeah, you're right. Huh, that's cool. I didn't think about that.
Loving tribute to the series. So choices, and then there's the wall of bounty posters that people were losing their stuff over. Yeah. I would warn that like people are like, oh, who is Cavendish? Like Cavendish is cast, and like Foxy is cast, and like Bellamy is cast. And it's like temper those expectations. I'm not saying for quality of the series or anything, but like there's only probably a slim chance that it's going to end up being the person who was photographed for that. I really don't know about that. So.
Yeah, you got to treat it the same way that Oda's famous silhouettes of unknown characters go.
Yes, this is the live action version of those.
Yeah, pending
perfect.
until further notice, basically.
And then Kobe here, Again, just ripped from the pages of the
Yeah,
manga.
love it. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's my face? Well, we'll find out.
Mm-hmm. August
we'll
31st.
Find out. August 31st. Tanoshimi da na. Do naru kana? Something to look forward to. Woof. Well, with that being done, I think we've talked way longer than we expected to. I think we're just about to hit the 1.5 hour mark, and at the start of this, both you and me were like, "Oh yeah, we're keep it 40, 60 minutes. We got to do this."
Yeah. Well, once you pull out the video and you start going back and forth every 2 seconds, that you'll find stuff to talk about.
Well, Stephen, it has been an absolute pleasure getting to talk with you again on the SGS.
Absolutely, and yes, we do. Obviously, we have seen the many questions that are accumulating in our Discord, our Patreon SGS section. We will definitely get to those at some point. I don't know. I'm like, the next time we talk, it might be around season 1 release time. So we might have another hour or two at least of stuff to talk about. But we will get to those questions someday for sure.
I think maybe I put myself out there. If there's nothing super pressing, and okay, maybe there's the series or whatnot, but maybe we'll do a reverse SGS and we'll do questions first.
Hey, that's an idea.
Feature that and try to get that in. Questions are not being ignored.
No, I'm looking forward to answering some of them. So, I think that'll do it for us today. However, hope you enjoyed our talk about not just the live action, but also the latest chapters and a little bit of what it's like to meet your heroes. It's a very strange experience, but I guess we'll turn it back over to the rest of the show. So long.
See ya.
This is the double anime recap for episodes 1069 and 1070. I'm your host Sam, and today with me we have none other than Ed.
Hey, back to the anime recap. It's going to be some momentous time for the anime coming up, and these episodes are like the prologue, the prelude to it.
And joining us today, we also have Fruit by the Foot's very own Steve Yurko.
God damn it, Sam! You gotta let me know when you're gonna tie me in with an old '90s snack so I could recite one of the catchphrases. What was fruit by the foot? Fruit by the foot. Catchphrase. If Sam could kill time, so can I. When I try to, God, what was it?
How many fruit by the foot tall are you?
It's at least 6 of them.
Yes, assuming a fruit by the foot is a foot, which they're definitely longer than that, though.
I'll say that's right, Sam, and I am over 6 foot. I'm over 6 feet of fun.
Nice. Speaking of nice, episode 1069. There is only one winner, Luffy versus Kaido. The title card begins at 5 minutes and 17 seconds, and we are wrapping up the Raizo versus Fukurokuju fight, which I think I was under the presumption that the fight was over the episode before.
It was over, and then I think it got overed again in this episode.
Got overed again. Fukurokuju is begging for water. And he's caving, he's begging for water, and Raizo stays put, and he's trying to tough it out like his old buddy Odin would have done so.
The fire is a little more transparent than it normally is.
Who is?
I would say that the fire is a little more transparent than it normally is, which makes for a cool effect on like the dark background. But it's just because we have to see them through the flames, so like they have to be able to talk clearly.
We're catching up with kind of the ground floor peeps. Jinbei appears in the Raizo fight, basically, just the perfect person to deal with fire, because he's got he's the water man. We come back to
on the crew as the water man.
Yeah, he's the water boy. We got Guernica finger pistoling Drake. Drake's not doing so hot. And we've got some of Snake Man versus Kaido.
This is fun.
Some of my some of my 1069 notes are from like a couple weeks old, so I'm like trying to recall in my head exactly what was going on here. Kaido comments on he thinks that it's strange that Luffy's ability to bend his arms and like change direction and velocity midair. He's like, well, that should be impossible due to the nature of rubber. So clearly something's up. Clearly, this is a question we should have been asking.
He's starting to have his suspicions. I just love the way that the Snake Man is animated in this episode. It looks awesome.
Mm-hmm. Kaido's in his drunken beggar form again, being all.
And this is like the big purple form.
Is it? Sorry, this is one where I have to.
I mean, I feel like that's like.
Dan, cut this out.
I don't think Dan's gonna. You're on your own, Sammy. I'll just say, like, what it was like, whatever Kaido's kind of like big purple, big scary eyes, freaking, like, the end
his
of,
hybrid form is very like cute in these episodes. He's got like a button nose.
Oh, because it's a different form. Dare I say, God, I can't believe we have this conversation. Is this his awakened ability?
Well, with the Zoan fruit powers, it's hard to tell.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was hard to tell in the manga, honestly, and it is in the manga, but I didn't realize until the anime release. I'm like, oh yeah, this is kind of a completely different state of being. And I think it's just like, I was just gonna say, like, the anime like kind of helped make it a little more clear for me, which is nice. But sorry that
but
I'm,
we've
like,
got
wasting time with that. But
we've got Kaido turning back into full dragon form and giving Luffy a big blast, and that connects us to the eye catch of the episode. And we come back, and now Luffy, he's transitioning. This is all like one big run of Gear 4, because as he said before, he's got this one left. But he can go from Snake Man into Bounce Man. He's now Bounce Man. They're clashing some more. Luffy's getting ready his big giant Kong gun, like what he finished Doflamingo off with. And he's talking about how the people of Wano, they can't drink or feed themselves. And Kaido's response to this is basically like, tough shit. And Luffy's proclaiming that the samurai are strong. And they're getting into kind of Kaido's luring him into a philosophical debate about whether the samurai are really strong or if they just act strong. The winners don't need such praise. He's like, if they were so great, then they wouldn't have lost to me, basically, is what he's saying. And Luffy is, so this is an over Kong gun, and there's big, giant, triumphant, victorious music happening as Luffy clocks Kaido. and sends Kaido flying, big dust clouds. We got Luffy he's sprinting on the ground, like pumping his arms at full pace, and he's like kind of like running along the bottom of the screen. And now Kaido, in the dust, Kaido is returning to his hybrid form. And he says, "Thunder, bellow, bagua!" And he smacks Luffy. Yeah, he hits Luffy back, and now Luffy he's been hit by this. He's like some air is escaping. He's starting to deflate, but he's like grabbing at the air that's coming out of his mouth and like trying to stuff it back in so he doesn't lose his Gear 4.
Well, there's that cartoon logic for you.
And Kaido is bloodthirsty drunk.
Sorry, this is the form I'm referring to. I apologize for derailing the conversation. I think because like I've watched the most recent episode too, so I'm like, yeah, hasn't he been using this for a while? I just felt a little crazy here. But
and Luffy and Kaido, they're like facing off each other. Their talking faces are very like animated and kind of like wiping around the screen. And this is when good old Guernica jumps in. Luffy's about to give like another Kong gun, and Guernica is like Iron Body, and he grabs onto Luffy's arm. He's like stiffens himself with the Iron Body in order to kind of restrain Luffy and screw up his attack. And that's when Kaido's attack hits Luffy, and then the rest of the episode is just Kaido looking mortified at what he's done, because now Luffy is he's taking a real hit this time. He was starting to deflate before. Now it looks like he may have possibly lost
Yeah.
To be continued.
Yeah, they did that they over animated the mouths, so they like did the exact Japanese words in the mouth flaps, right, and leading into that big final clash, and it's just some beautiful stuff to look at here. Gear 4 always looks good in the anime, but they made it look especially good here, and just all the good Gear 4 and Kaido stuff is what I'll take away from this episode entirely.
Yeah, there's some good. I think there's some Vincent Chan's art in here, who we've been seeing a lot of.
No, that's the big iconic scene of this episode is the Vincent Chan's stuff. It's just how he's able to take a 2D drawing, especially at all these scales, like these tiny details, and just make almost like trick you into thinking it's a 3-dimensional object. It's truly just like an amazing skill.
Yeah, it feels like sometimes it feels like it's like rotoscoping over a 3D model or something.
No, I just think he's that damn good.
Like I'm not saying I think that's what it's actually doing. That's like the effect.
No, I said
it's
yeah,
surreal.
it's like that's what it looks like, but no, he's just that damn good.
Yep. Episode 1070. Luffy is defeated. The determination of those left behind. And we're jumping right in. Title card, 2 minutes and 14 seconds. And now Luffy is properly deflating, and like he skirts along along the ground and hits his head on a rock. He bounces off the rock, and he's like kind of deflating like a balloon to like very dramatic music that immediately cuts the second that he's out of air.
We get a lot of stills coming up here.
We got a lot of Momonosuke talking about how he can't hear the voice anymore. And Kaido is kind of standing over Luffy's defeated corpse, I suppose. And we've got like the glowing cherry blossom petals, kind of the graphic is kind of coming in on screen as Guernica just like crosses his arms. He's just standing there. He's not gonna run away. He knows he's fucked. He tips his fedora. He miladies Kaido, and then Kaido responds in kind and smashes him.
Like Kaido's response to Guernica has always kind of been like the disappointed father. It was like, It's like, you messed up, right? It's like, you know what I have to do now, right? Yes, sir.
Guernica is the dog who looks guilty.
Yes. Yeah.
We've got Kawamatsu. He's like running around trying to strategize ways of putting the fires out. As CGI Kaido comes flying it down into the performance floor, and it's rough. The CGI Kaido in this episode, it's very prominent. It's like most of the episode. It's
almost kind of fitting. Like,
it draws attention to itself a lot.
This is the bad ending. If Kaido wins, he just turns into a CGI dragon and just kind of floats there.
Yep.
And he's announcing to the world that Straw Hat Luffy has been defeated. He doesn't sound super happy about it, but he's like, that's life, I guess. I guess I gotta come kill you guys now. And then, like, Chopper wails. Like, Chopper is just like a very emotionally distressed child. We're cutting around to everybody kind of reacting to the news, and some people feel defeated by it. Some people deny the possibility. Otama still believes in Luffy. And Nami's like, you know what? You're right. And she's getting emotional, and she's yelling at Kaido like, hey, when Luffy says he'll win no matter what. And we spend some of the episode of Kaido just kind of floating around and rousing the troops and getting the beast pirates back in the spirits and on his side again.
Shooting fireballs too.
Spitting some fireballs. Kid in Law, who, just episodes before were like, okay, well, if Luffy can't win, we're screwed. Well, and then it turns out Luffy didn't win, so they're standing up and they're like, oh, well, guess we gotta put in some effort. We got
with the same kind of rapport of, like, saying, like, a doctor at, like, a hospital that, like, finally has a moment to, like, get some rest after, like, doing surgery
and the
for like 24
the
hours. Yeah, and then the calls come in. They're like,
we've got Yamato is grabbing Momonosuke by the whiskers and, like, yelling at him like, hey, we gotta keep fighting. We gotta stay determined. And this is totally not where Momonosuke's vibes are. Momonosuke wants to give in. But Yamato's like, no, that's absurd. We have to put our lives on the line no matter what until the last minute. Looking Momonosuke directly in the eyes, like, let's die together, which I like to imagine is in the tone of let's take ibuprofen together. We have a scene of Law jumping in to save Kid from Amuk, who almost gets the jump on him.
Kid is very tsundere in this scene.
Yeah, they kind of tsundere at each other, and I like this shot where they're, like, standing back to back, and you've got, like, the big Kaido head kind of in the background. And we have Nami fighting back tears. She's still yelling at Kaido. She still believes in her captain. And then we get, like, some, like, heartbeat sound effects. And Zunisha is, like, the old grumbly elephant voice is like, Momonosuke, the drums of liberation, I hear them.
like this. It's like the same kind of response when a dog hears a car pull up into the driveway.
Zunisha can hear the drums of liberation for the first time in 800 years, and, like, it starts as heartbeat sound effects, and then it's like this like very, like, up this very, like, high intensity, like, marching band drumming snares going off, and, like, those kind of, like, kind of fall in sync with the heartbeats and then kind of overtake the heartbeats completely. And
it gets pretty funky.
Zunisha's gets pretty funky. If you saw the Gear 5 preview videos and stuff like that, the music that they're using for that is the drum music that they're using here. And Zunisha's telling Momonosuke, like, I'm positive that he's here. And it's like, who are you talking about? Joy Boy has returned. And this is like cross-cut with Luffy, whose like hair is like starting, like his hair and face are like starting to ascend and melt.
Yeah,
like,
he's becoming
he's like ascending to heaven almost in
Goopy D. Luffy,
melty goo thing. Yeah, Goopy D. Luffy. And then the final shot of the episode when Zunisha is talking about Joy Boy is Luffy's vacant expression turning into a smile. Although we can only see his mouth, we can't see his eyes because the goop is in the way. To be continued.
Zunisha looks really cool in this episode too. Just, I don't know, the way the landscape of like where they are, like those mountains are sticking up out of the ocean and they're like towering even over him, and I don't know, they just make him look really cool, very very menacing.
I found it really endearing when he looked up all mouth agape.
Yeah,
he had his big elephant mouth open. It was funny. But this was an episode to give the animation team plenty of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of CG Kaido and still images and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Even like I remember the fire kind of being a little bit janky in this episode. So.
Yeah, these episodes were. I mean, like the first episode certainly had its highlights.
Oh yeah, I mean there's a lot of cool Gear Force stuff, and the clash at the end of the episode is very very well done.
Definitely, that scene goes a lot longer than it does in the manga, but it's like really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Though both episodes did give me this sense of, we're in the early wake of something big that's coming, and like this is not where the money went.
Yeah.
Overall. But that's how it goes sometimes. I thought the episodes were mostly pretty conventional. They were mostly fine. The CGI Kaido quite rough.
I have not gotten used to it.
Like, can you get used to it? Like, unless like the whole show is CGI, I think you would get used to it then. But like,
yeah, it's true.
It just really really stands out.
But I will say this, as someone who's like drawn Kaido a lot recently and over like the last couple of years of the podcast,
you get it.
I don't envy anyone. Like Oda's a machine. I don't get how he was doing all that work every week.
Do you think he draws all the scales himself, or is that assistant?
He might draw all the scales. I don't know if he definitely doesn't fill in the blacks. Right. I don't think. I think that's an assistant's job, but still. And I've noticed like so many times I've drawn Kaido, there's always some little detail I've forgotten, whether it be like his mustache or ears or something, or is the pointy things coming out of his cheeks. Oda's wild. Oda's wild.
Yeah. Ed, general thoughts on these two episodes?
No, that was pretty much it. I got my opinion out there.
Steve?
I think the 1069 did a lot of heavy lifting. I think it was like it definitely felt like a big hurrah before something big was coming, because 170 is very just kind of is what it is episode. Nothing that spectacular, but
you'd think it would be. You think really it would feel bigger, given like Kaido is announcing that Luffy is dead. But it's Luffy. You can't really trust.
It's almost like the anime kind of through like fourth wall, like doesn't even try to convince you it's happening. It's like, no,
right.
That's CGI Kaido telling me it's over. He's AI. He's not real.
And I guess like I do remember like in the manga, even though like obviously we don't think Luffy's gonna die, but like it felt like a really surprising turn that like the narrator would announce Kaido's victory, and it was an interesting low point for the heroes.
Mm-hmm.
That feels like so just kind of whatever here.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else you guys would like to say before we move on to the next segment?
I'm very excited for the next episode. I mean,
For sure.
All right, thank you guys. Let's move on.
all right, cool.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, and theories and figure out an answer to them. Apologies, last week we ran long. We ran very long. So we didn't get a chance to ask the Piece Together questions that you all asked us. So we're going to try and get to them this week. Ed, what's the first segment here?
Zach, that is DSPs.
Got a lot to get through. Let's get through it. First comes, I didn't even assign them, but I'll read these. This Ken Loves One Piece says, good morrow to you fine fellows of the One Piece podcast crew. As evidence via the World Glorp web, we now know that one of the biggest and best movie twofers out in theaters. This was, by the way, from July 23rd, so if this sounds old to you. Barbie and Oppenheimer, Barbieheimer, if you will. I'm sure every Straw Hat will go to see both, but if they each had to go see only one, which would they see? I believe you all have Kenergy to answer this. Thank you and have a nice day. I know we're all sick of this now at the very end of July, but a week
I'm
ago,
not.
it was
I haven't
fresh.
seen either yet.
Well, no, just the meme, I mean. Or
I'm
maybe you're not. I don't
haven't
know.
seen either yet.
Okay.
I think the
Okay,
only Straw Hat is going to see Oppenheimer is Robin.
I was gonna say that, but then I thought like Ohara,
Brooke?
and I'm
No.
like, does she like?
No, but she's
I don't
morbid
know.
in general. I think she would appreciate
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
I
she
think so.
would.
I don't know. I just wasn't sure if that would be like too traumatic for like her. You know.
It might. It might.
I don't think any of the Straw Hats want to see Oppenheimer. I think
Well, definitely not Frankie
maybe
or
Zorro.
Sanji or
Maybe
his
Zorro would go to see Oppenheimer and then accidentally walk into the wrong theater.
No,
and see
he would,
Barbie.
and then fall asleep accidentally.
I mean, Sanji could go to Oppenheimer. It's the only one with full frontal.
If you sold it like that,
No,
absolutely.
Sanji would go see Barbie. Be like, there's got to be full frontal, frontal Barbie.
Yeah.
Pretty pull like a Doc Venture and Dolly Parton scenario.
Professional Poyo says, howdy OPP. I can't believe Kobe gave a fist bump when clearly Pizarro was going for a high five. That is really funny. I didn't. By the way, this is referring to last week's chapter 1088. Real awkward to watch. Anyways, enough about that manga crap. What about that cool new live action trailer that I totally haven't watched 50 times since we got Easter eggs of characters like Cavendish and Foxy? What other future One Piece characters do you hope make a blink and you'll miss it appendices? It's not like we're getting a season 2 anyways, so we might as well put all your eggs in one basket, right?
Wanze.
That was a sigh of exasperation, if that wasn't clear.
I'll hear it on the podcast. You can't hear it on Zoom.
Oh, Zoom. Well, I gave it. Ed, is there a blink and you'll miss a character you want to see in the live action?
I mean, Whoop Slap is actually going to have a role in the live action, so I hope he's more than just a blink and you'll miss.
I wonder. Yeah, probably.
I don't know. Nezumi. I mean, Nezumi probably will have his role retained.
Well, we never got to discuss this last time, but Arlong is at Baratier in the trailer, which
Yes.
I actually think is good. I think that's cool that they're doing something different. If you hear a dog in the background, that is my dog. I also want to add
here on the podcast, not on the Zoom.
Bartolomeo, people have mentioned since he was in Logtown on the day that Luffy was there. Making his
a lot of cats in Logtown.
Yeah. I all the people in Chapter 0, just seeing Gecko Moria hanging out there, that's great.
I hope there's a cliffhanger with Crocus.
That's the cliffhanger. Oh, wait, they should do that joke where it's like, no, you're gonna kill me, or whatever the line is from the anime.
Zoom in joke.
Yeah, and that's how the season ends. You heard it here first. A to Z fan says, hey, OPP, as the world's number one Usopp fan, debatable, I immediately noticed that Oda drew him with his post-time skip beard on the color spread. Pretty funny considering his record for drawing facial hair. That's true. Also funny that he did the opposite, that he accidentally added it. Also funny that Captain Morgan is there too, obscured by Sanji. My only question is, where is his beautiful baby boy, Helmeppo? I don't think anyone had that question.
I mean, Helmeppo's got to be in the show.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
I think we could look it up. I think he's been cast. So
I thought he was as well. Yeah. Smoker was never cast, right? Like, I don't recall seeing anything about Smoker.
Don't think so. Sorry,
I Dragon was though.
Yeah, Helmeppo was definitely been cast.
Yeah. Steve, did you have anything else you want to add, or you want?
Nah, not really.
Yeah. Super Nintendo Chalmers says, I think Kobe once told Garp about how he wanted to become Fleet Admiral, and Garp told him that this was the greatest navy in the world, and they got a whole system set up to keep people like him from ever becoming Fleet Admiral. Garp then proceeded to whack him on the head with the paper and told him, quit your daydreaming, Melonhead. That sounds right.
Yep.
Itchnob, friend of the show, says, for folks who read multiple Jump titles, do you read One Piece first, or do you save that as the last title you read? If the latter, do you save any other titles to read before One Piece? For me, it used to be Jujutsu Kaisen and My Hero Academia, but now I have Blue Box and Akana Banashi to read before delving into the latest One Piece chapter.
Well, that's how Dennis does things.
I couldn't. This is what One Piece. You gotta read One Piece first.
This is what I admit. I still don't read too much in Shonen Jump, and I'm not getting my $3 worth.
No,
but I feel like my brain can only devote time to so much in a given time. I wake up in the morning on Sunday and I am ready to read One Piece. I'm not faulting Dennis for this. Sometimes I can understand saving the best for last. I don't know if that's how it feels, but the way he does it, to me, that feels like, like ordering like amazing takeout, but deciding, hey, I'm going to just like eat everything else that's in the cupboard before I get to that.
But you could also see it like not having your meal before dessert, and like having dessert first.
One Piece is bigger than a dessert, Zach.
Or it's like one of those giant all-you-could-eat desserts. Yeah, that sounds about right. I need to do a Stephen Paul read through of all his series. I got the first volume of Vinland Saga, which I plan to read. Akana Banashi I've only heard great things about. I need to read that. I still haven't read Platinum End, and I want to read that. There's like a lot of... I need to do a Stephen Paul marathon one of these
start
days.
with Vinland Saga.
Yeah, I'm going to. That was the plan. Akana Banashi might be easier, though, since... Vinland Saga is not digital because it's Kodansha, right? Or it's on that K manga app, maybe.
Yeah, I've been buying
not
the books,
touching that.
So.
Yeah, they're nice books, so I have no
hardcover
reason not to.
Although
but when I'm on the train,
they have I think they have a deluxe edition now.
Oh, they do. But the regular edition is hardcover. One Piece would never get that. I'm still angry. I want a perfect, like the 20th Century Boys sets, but for One Piece. One of these days. Next question comes from Ken of Red Lions, who says, hey, OPP, it feels so surreal seeing Kobe doing something so incredible after all these years, and that got me wondering about his role in the finale of the series. Do you think that he'll end up clashing with Luffy again, or maybe he'll take part in the defeat of Blackbeard? As Garp said, the future of the young is infinite. Anyone?
Sorry, what was the question?
Yeah,
cool.
I'm pull the Steve thing.
The question is, do you think Luffy and Garp are gonna Luffy and Kobe are going to fight each other at the end, or team up together? Like, do you think they are destined to clash? I think is maybe
I think Kobe might be destined to chase Luffy, but this helps rewatching the dub too. Garp and Roger did team up, so I could totally see Kobe and Luffy teaming up.
Same. And I don't know. I don't see them being enemies, not just because they have such not just because Kobe has such admiration for Luffy, but I also think the stuff in Sword, and I don't remember if I mentioned this last week, is setting up for, I think I did, is setting up for the future of what the Navy will look like. And I don't think it will be as adversarial as it is today with Luffy. I think Luffy obviously is on his own journey, which does not involve the Marines, obviously. But I think the whole thing here is the entire system has to be knocked down. And what replaces it from the rubble, I think, will be Sword and Kobe in particular. That's my 2 cents. That's my theory.
And there'll be a comic strip about Kobe in the World Economic newspaper.
Exactly, and we'll probably get to read that. Reverse Eye Patch says, "Hey OPP Enheimer, how you faring in this busy week for the series?" Which was last week. Pirate Warriors.
How has no one made that joke yet?
OPP Enheimer, Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have worked if I said it, but that is well done. Well, this is the only.
It's more of a visual gag than an audio.
Yeah, that's the problem. Pirate Warriors 4 news: the live action series and the triumph of Garp in Glorious Bastards. Damn it, that's a good title. But I pay you people money to make you talk nonsense, so I'm going to ask what type of pasta each of the Marines in this chapter would be. Ooh. I've been really into Radio Tori lately, and I'll say the Glorp guy, Prince Groose, feels very...
I like those pastas that look like radiators from like an old apartment.
Pastas like with all the holes in it?
Yeah.
I don't know what those are called.
For being a quarter Italian, I do not know my pastas very well. I
don't know the names of them.
Well, which one's who's the bow ties?
That's starts with an F. Why am I?
And it's in my cupboard too, and I haven't bought it in years. But I felt like making pasta again. So
that is called fusilli. Not fusilli. No. I'm thinking of farfalle. That's it. Fusilli is the fusilli Jere from Seinfeld. That's what I was thinking. It's a corkscrew pasta. You okay there?
Who's
Steve?
the bow ties?
Farfalle.
Farfalle. No, I'm saying no. What character?
Oh, I mean,
wasn't that the
Kobe.
question?
Yeah, I think Kobe is, because a bow tie feels like the nerdy, like Kobe's nerdy.
So whoever our fellow foodies, whoever like on the podcast,
we're getting yelled at,
or foodies are just like enraged with us right now. I'm not the right person to
types
ask.
of pasta. Who's spaghetti? Why don't I do it like this? I'll say the type of. You all know what spaghetti is. Right?
Between what, like these three Marines?
Yeah, it's Biscotti.
That's true. That's the Japanese, the original Japanese pronunciation. I'm gonna move on.
No. We could do this. It's just 3 characters, right? It's just 3.
Okay, so Kobe, I think Farfalle makes sense. I think the bow tie. Yeah. I think then we got more than 3, because there's also Helmeppo. Would have to be a lame one that you're disappointed by.
He'd kind of be like a fancy one, because he used to be fancy boy, little rich bitch living off a daddy.
Angel hair? No, that doesn't describe him at all.
I don't know my pasta.
Just Google it. You'll see. Just Google types of pasta, and you'll see all the types of pasta. What would he be though? That's what describes him. Macaroni.
Well,
macaroni is too popular for that.
If you put 2 macaroni next to each other, that's his chin, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Garp. Who is Garp in the pasta world, I guess, is the question.
Angel hair, because he's dead. Yeah, he's not really dead.
What about manicotti, like with the big cheese in the middle? Like I feel like he's something heavy.
He's very cheesy. Yeah.
This is making me hungry
a big
too.
ziti, maybe.
Yeah, I haven't had big ziti in years.
Ooh, I could see him because he's like it's a very popular dish, and Garp is a very popular guy.
Yeah, there's a tubular,
but he also leaves you with
Garganelli.
No, I didn't know that.
Is that what Garganel got named after? From the Smurfs.
Likely. Sure. You know what? Yes. Oh, I see it. I've seen that kind of pasta before. It's like penne, but the lines are perpendicular. For those wondering,
whatever pasta's the gloopiest, that's
Prince Cruz. No, Prince Cruz is when you accidentally overcook pasta and it just turns into the goop.
Oh, it's too soft. Yeah.
That's it. I like soft pasta, but I don't like loopy pasta. Which I know also foodies out there like.
You don't like the al dente?
Let's move on to. No, I don't like the al dente. One quick tangent here. Erica would make fun of my very stereotypical Italian accent that I do, and I'm not going to do it right now. But when we went to Italy, we stopped at like a truck stop.
I thought the story was going to be like, when we went to Italy, I kept doing it.
No, I wish. No, we went to a truck stop, and Erica goes in, and the trucker immediately says, "Mamma mia!" And I'm like, "There you go. What do you want from me here?" They really say it.
What, he slip on a banana peel?
Yes. I'm sorry. I love that story. Next one.
Someone in a go-kart passed him.
I never saw him, but she did describe him as a mustachioed man with a red hat with a big M on it. Next one comes from Sheepman, who says, "Howdy, OPP. Oda must really be a big fan of Song of Fire and Ice series. Ace got impaled by way of magma, fire, by an admiral, and Garp got impaled by way of ice by a former admiral. The series already has multiple dragons and deep lineages. There was also, wasn't there a whole thing, the throne thing with Doflamingo at the very end of Dressrosa? Anyway.
I mean, we always thought that like Whole Cake Island was just like, oozing with Game of Thrones stuff.
He definitely was into it, and it makes sense.
All those marriages.
Wedding after wedding after wedding. I think this is the longest we've gone without a Simpsons reference.
Let's get that in there. We made a lot off air, don't worry. Super Nintendo Chalmers. The questions here, though, is Luffy the heir to the empty throne? Are the Kung Fu Dugong stand-in for the Dire Wolves? Well, Oda gave up writing the main series in favor of writing other stories in the world that no one cares about.
It is crazy that he'll get to the end eventually, I guess. And he feels like it.
Who, Oda? Or,
no, George Martin.
Or Martin.
Yeah.
Both. But they have different paths. Like, Oda can't stop writing it. That's the problem. George R. R. Martin has different issues. We could probably move on to the next question. Wisdom Pythagoras says,
Luffy does not want to sit on a throne. I feel like I could say that.
Well, except that cover of Jump recently, which was a cool ass cover. Don't get me wrong, but he is sitting on a throne there.
It's not.
He does want to be king of the pirates.
It doesn't have narrative context.
King of the pirates. He wants to be.
He doesn't want to be a king.
He says it every week.
Yeah, but Zach, what's the king of the pirates?
It's a guy who has a lot of pirates under him, and he has a nice crown.
Wrong.
Zach, get out of here. Zach, get out of here. I'm host now. I mean, I am host technically, but like,
I was gonna say
you're getting
we're
demoted.
all hosts.
You're getting demoted to like a chief petty officer or something.
No, what's the poop deck cleaner? Wait, why am I demoting myself?
Okay, you can do that too. I mean, Chief Petty Officer I thought was a decent bit. But...
Next question. Wisdom Pythagoras says, "Hey, OPP, I was a little confused what was going on in this chapter. Did Kobe tell Pizarro that he's 42 years old and should stop pretending he's a cat and go find a real job, causing Pizarro to crumble before the impact of such honesty? No, really. Why do the worst dudes always have some affinity for cats? Kuro, Who's Who, Pizarro. Is Oda trying to tell us something we're not ready to hear? Thanks, OPP. Now, Steve, you're our resident cat lover here. I know Ed is allergic to cats, and I have dogs.
Due to process of elimination, I'm the
process of elimination.
Yeah.
But I know you are. So defend cat lovers against this slander.
God, what was the slander again? I heard.
Oh my God, the two of you! I have no one here who actually is listening to the question.
I'm in pain. Well, I'm not really in pain.
No, that's I'm sorry, my voice does that. It's why do the worst dudes have affinity for cats? Kuro, Who's Who, and Pizarro are the three examples here.
Blofeld from the James Bond movies always had the cat, Dr. Evil.
Well,
True, Dr. Evil has cats.
There's, and I want to say this with the most Lindenson voice. There's Lindbergh from the Revolutionaries.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
I was about to say, but he's into steampunk. No, there's good kitty cats out there. Did you know Margaret, my girl from Amazon Lily, almost had a devil fruit where she turned into a panther?
But she didn't.
But she's cool.
Oda just drew a giant panther instead.
Rob Lucci might be.
He's a bad
face.
guy.
Well, he might be turning face.
Yeah, but he's also an asshole.
Peckham's and Pedro are good.
Peckham's. Yeah.
Well, that's a lion. Yeah,
Sorry,
I guess it's the cat family.
They're cats, Zach.
Yeah, but they're cool cats.
Cat Viper.
Tomcats.
No, not cool cat.
All the mink cats are cool.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Who are you to tout El Neandy?
Oh no, Jesus Christ. Let's go to the next question. Ghost Trick, Crampton, Detective, exclamation point, says, hey OPP, banger chapter as always. Last week I joked about the Kobe bags, and this week they showed. What a fantastic, tragic chapter. Anyway, I read it straight after landing back home after a short holiday, so what type of tourists would each of the Straw Hats be? Like the ones who stay by the pool, the souvenir collector, the sightseer, so on. Have a great one. Who wears socks with their sandals on the... Isn't that a thing that tourists do?
Like a part of me would almost say like, oh, or Nami always by the pool? But no, Nami's, No,
Nami's exploring.
So Zoro, I could see hanging out by the pool.
Yeah. Robin, I think, would be enjoying a nice... She would be... Like, I am not one of those...
No.
Yeah.
No, Zoro's the worst. Zoro would be the one who stays in the hotel room.
At the gym in the hotel.
Yeah.
Or the swimming pool, doing laps. Robin would be reading a nice book on the beach, which is something I'm incapable of doing.
No, I think Robin would go to museums and stuff. She would want to learn about local history.
I think she'd be able to balance it very well, though. I think the relaxation and exploration.
I think Frankie would be, I feel like Frankie would be the one driving everybody around.
Yeah.
I mean, no, that's Jinbei.
Oh, that is Jinbei. You're right. That is Jinbei. Luffy would be not bar hopping, but food hopping. I think, like checking out the best places to get food.
Well, Sanji
would be and also in the back bothering the chefs.
I thought he'd be bothering the ladies.
Oh, well, he'll be doing that too.
Yeah.
No. Sanji would be going on he's like, what's like, what there's like, are there any Michelin restaurants in the area? That's where we're going. And then he would want to learn the recipes.
And then he'd hang out at the bar too long, and then that's where you get it going. Who else are we missing? Chopper would be on like the boardwalk just getting candy and ice cream the whole time. And being amazed by like really touristic things, like the guy throwing the fire thing, or like the mimes. He'd be really into them. Help me here.
I think Chopper would be into doctoring.
that didn't help at all, Steve. Any others?
I know it's a weird thing. I feel like most of the Straw Hats are adventurous, so I think
it's in the song Jungle P.
But beware, it's dangerous.
That's they aren't aware though. That's the problem.
But hey, the trip goes on because
Be the pirate of the mass.
To the west.
To the east. Gotta find
always
a way.
twirling towards freedom.
Twirling all the way to One Piece.
This is what happens when you just get the three of us recording a podcast.
When's the last time it's been just the three of us?
It's been a moment.
Yeah.
I bet you all regret it. Vinny C. Doc Feelbad says, "Hi, OPP. What a chapter, huh? I'm sure all of us are thinking about what's next for our beloved Peepaw and what Kuzan is thinking at this moment. So I'll ask the question. I know this is going a completely different way. So I'll ask the question that is surely on everyone's mind. Is Honesty Impact the worst name for an attack in the entire series? It's perfect for Kobe, and I love it, but it's so lame, and I hope everyone makes fun of it."
Well, if that's lame, then I guess Kobe's just a big lame. So
you know what? That's the right answer. Because he is.
To say you're lame.
Luffy would definitely make fun of the name of that. He'd be too busy laughing at the name of the attack and get hit by it. What is the worst named attack in the series, I guess is the question. And by lasers. I guess... nipple beams. They're beams. That's not... I disagree with that.
Yeah, you
answer.
would know, Zach.
What is that implying?
You would know.
Attack names or whatever.
Yeah, God, no. There's so many silly attack names.
I don't know, Robin's Quintipio or whatever it is.
I'm sure Charlotte Cracker has a bunch of stupid names too.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move to the next question. Sailor Karna still says, "Hey OPP, today is my birthday." It was July 23rd. Being a One Piece...
Happy birthday!
I'm a young 35. Being a One Piece fan this weekend was amazing, and I can't wait for August 6th. Happy birthday. Sorry for being late.
Happy birthday.
And the one new question we have, Big Mike says, "Hey, how much longer until the Straw Hat Samurai Yamato becomes a core member of the crew? Jinbei was in limbo for 328 chapters. I'm glad someone did that math. Will Yamato join after chapter 1385, which would be roughly 8 years from now?"
8 years.
I guess you answered your own question.
One Piece might actually be done by that.
I've been saying 2037, right? That's exactly 30 years. 2027, sorry. 40 years is 2037.
That's only 4 years away.
I know. So that's it for Dis Piece. We could do... I think we got an email, which I will check at this moment, from Ryan, who says, "Hey there, OPP. Was thinking about the murder of T-Bone from... Oh, I forgot. Yes. You have to do your segment intro, Ed, for emails.
Zach, you want to answer some emails?
Yes, I do. Steve, you got this reference, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was thinking about the murder of T-Bone from chapter 1082, and I decided to read his entry on the One Piece wiki. After doing so, I realized who could have killed T-Bone and why the Navy chose not to reveal the details. The culprit was none other than T-Bone. Sorry, when I say that, I just think of the Seinfeld episode.
The murder of T-Bone by the cowardly T-Bone.
Yeah, exactly. Think about it. His motto is do 100 good deeds every day. He's far too willing to sacrifice himself.
Did you get that reference, Ed?
No.
I remember it, but I don't remember what it's from.
The murder of Jesse James by the cowardly...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What's his name?
The Casey Affleck
Gerald
movie.
Ford. Not Gerald.
Robert
Ford.
Ford.
Robert Ford.
President
Gerald Ford killed Jesse James.
President Gerald Ford shot dead today.
So here's what probably happened. The old man came to T-Bone. This is, by the way, Greg, I think, posited this a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. I think you wrote a column about it.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I'm not gonna repeat the whole thing, but I think it almost is exactly that. So we agree, I think, right? I think we all agree with that email.
Yeah.
No? Okay.
I do.
Let's see what we got on the Shabati Archipelago. From last week. What did I say? The actual one? No, we're going all the way there.
It's been a long weekend.
It has, as I've said. How many? Okay, so let's start with the Sea King, who says, "Hey OPP, if Garp is Han Solo and Blackbeard is Jabba the Hutt, then who is Boba Fett?"
Kuzan.
He is the coolest. Ice cold.
All right.
Let's go to the next one. Do Gold Bond, because of OPP, says, "How are you feeling about the Blackbeard captains? Have the last couple of chapters gotten you excited about their future clash with the Straw Hat crew?"
I mean, Pizarro showed something in these last few chapters. Not really anybody else. But yeah, Pizarro was probably one of the least interesting, outside of his design, Blackbeard captains up until the last couple chapters. And they've done a good job of giving his powers more depth, and giving him. Well, his personality is mostly just cackling and then being scared when he's about to get punched. So there's no pathos there.
Any others? Or Steve? Any thoughts on the Blackbeard crew and where they stand today?
There's never been a guarantee like, oh, the Straw Hats are always gonna fight one-on-one with the Blackbeard pirates, but I want to see it so much. Give me that classic shonen trope. I mean, because like Wano is like our first bit of that in so long, and I mean, these guys are gonna be formidable. My opinions haven't changed much because I always kind of thought, I'm like, well, naturally they're gonna square off, right? But I hope so. I want to see it. It's just it's a trope, but it's a great trope.
The more I hear from them, I love that they're not exactly the anti-Straw Hats, but like they're so different and different dynamics, and the more seeing those dynamics in that brief flashback with Kuzan was just super cool. And really, I don't know if changed my opinion on them, but definitely given them a lot more dimension, which I think is needed if they are set up to be some big ultimate bad guy. But after this stretch of chapters, even with Blackbeard being very prominent, I still think the world government and Emu specifically are the big bad of the series, if there is one specific one. But at the same time, it almost looks like Blackbeard's trying to ally himself with the government again. So I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, I don't know where that's going.
I don't
know there's anyone dumb enough, even in the government, to trust Blackbeard at this point.
I said he's trying. I didn't say he'd succeed.
Well, you don't know what he has to offer yet. So
I don't. Maybe I'm forgetting a lot of things, but I'm like, I don't know where thinking the Blackbeard wants to work alongside the government.
It was he wants a kingdom.
Yeah.
To be recognized by the world government. Yeah.
Did he say that?
Yep. That was why he took Kobe, I think. He wanted it to use it as leverage so that the government said, okay, we'll do this.
Blackbeard said that?
Yes.
Two different references.
Blackbeard says for you to shut up.
Blackbeard said that? That's one more question. Electric Dynamite says, "Hey OPP, how do you feel about Tashigi? I feel like I am constantly waiting for her to have a big moment, but she is so underutilized and non-compelling. What was Oda's reasoning for including her in the scene? Was it only so that Smoker could be elsewhere without her? I wish she was in Wano to provide some interest with the swords. Will we ever have any movement on her goal and get to all the named blades for her to get all the named blades. And will anything ever come to light with her similarities with Kuina, or was that all just pointless?
You don't know.
I think,
wow, that's the most boring answer. I will say my first response was, with all the information, all the exposition, all the lore that we've been fed since the end of Wano, we had so much on our plate. Not that I don't want Shigi to have some development here. I was stuffed, so I'll be patient. It will come. I can't believe you want more.
Shiki got a lot of good screen time in Punk Hazard. That was a while ago at this point, but
dude, that was like
there's gonna be there wasn't enough.
Ago.
Yeah, there wasn't any room. She's never gonna have more of a spotlight, I think, than that, especially in an arc like Wano.
By the way, to put a cap on all the piece together segment, Steve, chapter 1080, Blackbeard says, I got a plan to turn Pirate Island here into its own country, one that's a member of the world government. And I'll be the king. Blackbeard Kingdom. How does that sound? Zay ha ha ha.
Zay ha ha.
That's how he laughs in that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's gonna put a big Blackbeard logo on top of the big skull on Full Lead Island.
My God.
There are people living inside of Pizarro.
He'll add 2 additional skulls going in opposite directions, and then it'll actually look like it. That'll do it for Piece Together. With Blackbeard's words, let's put an end to this Piece Together segment. This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 780 for the week of Monday, July 31st. Thank you all so much for coming on the show. This was a packed episode. I don't know how long it's going to be as I sit here now because we recorded in different chunks. But I think we brought some really cool stuff, including interviews with Jose and Jeremy from episode 1066. Please check them out if you haven't. The link will be in the description below for their social media and more. Please also big thanks to Greg and Steven for doing the SGS this week. I'm very excited to listen to it, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it. And please check them out as well. And huge thanks to Skippy for coming on for our preview of Gear 5 and a look back at the anime in Wano so far. What a fun episode of the podcast this has been. If you haven't, please check us out at patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. We have new alternate images, alternate titles, ad-free episodes, extras from our documentary, The One Piece Podcast Goes to Japan, the full Forced to Watch 4 Kids series, so much more. Check it all out there. We have been updating our YouTube channel, which is new. Not the channel, but updating it. At youtube.com/One Piece Podcast. I just recently put out the 9.5 hour take of Arcs of Consequence all in one shot. If you have 9.5 hours to kill, I know you all do, you could check that out now at youtube.com/One Piece Podcast. Plus all the latest episodes we're trying to post usually a few hours after it comes out everywhere else. But you could also find us in all the places Ed's going to say in a second. Steve, where could people find you?
You could go to my website, steveyurko.com. Social media.
Cool.
So you didn't hear me kind of.
Oh, I thought you just meant all social media. Yeah.
I'm Steve Yurko on a lot of social media. You know what? Everyone on Instagram is pretty cool lately. Follow me on Instagram.
Yeah.
Threads is garbage. It's doo-doo.
I heard.
I'm there. Twitter, I'm kind of still there. Account's locked, but maybe I don't know. I'm sorry to take up time.
About thinking
Twitch,
about
sorry,
whether to.
Yeah, Twitch. I haven't streamed in a while. I would love to stream again someday, but you could follow me there if you want to keep track of when I'll start doing that again. What else is there? Of course, I'm on the YouTube Let's Play channel, ProZD Plays Games. We're currently playing through Zero Escapes, Virtue's Last Reward, and other than that, yeah, that's it.
I'll say we're
too
also
much time.
We're also on Blue Sky, which I like, but it's because it's still invite only. Unfortunately, it just I feel like we aren't really able to reach everyone who wants to follow us there. But I've been it's nice and quiet. Ed, where could the good people find us that we haven't mentioned?
Right,
or either way.
You are Zach_Logan on Twitter. I'm still on Twitter. Edward One Piece. Maybe we trailers will post someday. Podcast can be found at the new and improved OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, Instagram.com, YouTube.com/OnePiecePodcast, OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com. That's our email address. Please support us, Patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. You can subscribe on SoundCloud, on Spotify, on iHeartRadio. You can also subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. And you can call us on our phone number. Zach?
That phone number is 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again, 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Anytime.
With your questions, comments, theories, or whether Blackbeard did say that. One last thing before we go. This episode is the first of our 3-part Gear 5 series. Next week, we're gonna be doing our usual manga recap of chapter 1089 with Murphy. But we're also going to have Grant and Sam on, the ANN One Piece reviewer of past and present, to talk about the Gear 5 episode. We'll also talk a lot about Gear 5, I assume. So check that out. And then the last part of our series, as we talked a little bit about earlier, I think, we have Vincent Chansard, who is an amazing storyboarder, has done some stuff on your favorite series and a whole bunch of One Piece episodes. And Kofi Fiagome will be joining us as well, and he's worked on amazing shows like OKKO, Craig of the Creek, Amphibia, The Owl House, and most recently Henry's episode of One Piece. So until then, we'll see you next week, everyone, with more. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
See you next time, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Cue the closing song of Liberation.
No.
Hey, oh, wow, yeah.
You know
hey,
which
oh,
song?
wow, yeah.
You know which song it is. It's Screaming Running Forever.
Yeah.
That's the song of Liberation.
So Sam's ready to do an anime recap.
I have to I don't have more time tonight. But
Boo.
So I'm gonna stop my recording then and export it, and we'll do separately with Sam. I'm gonna stop recording now.